Hello, hello. It is Wednesday. Adam is going to add, I guess, like code the 6 new boss fights for the game that he just designed yesterday. He thinks the work itself will be fun, but hopefully the actual boss fights are also fun. Okay. So, I I might need to do something else here. Hang on one second. What was that? Yeah, this is fine. Want to make sure I wasn't leaking anything. Oops, did I just close that? Quit. What? Okay, reopen, I guess. Huh. Strange. Discard. It's weird. iTerm2 has been acting up, and it didn't act up for years. And now all of a sudden, some weird things are happening. The other day, it said something like iTerm was identified as malware. And I looked online, and other people were having the same problem, and they're just like, re-download it. So I did. And now it's been crashing a lot more. I wonder what's happening. I mean, it could be my usage of it. Anyway, what I was going to do here is just run .NET format and see if this does anything. Then generate new translations and commit them, and then commit changes to the translation submodule. Yeah, let's do all this stuff. This should be pretty fast. And generate. I'll wait for this one to finish, I guess. Yeah, I found one using directive that wasn't needed in gravel.cs. I did modify that yesterday. I did a bunch of localization stuff yesterday. Hey, Shaky. And it is looking better. How's your morning going today, Shaky? Or afternoon or whatever. I would just say what time zone it is for me. All right, so gravel was modified to remove UI. Oh, interesting. Oh, because of a note that probably used to be there that isn't anymore. But when I say used to be there, I mean like a long time ago, maybe. Anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, so this is just run .NET format. Then we run this. This is going to generate a whole bunch of strings. Should be pretty good. Yeah, I'm not going to look through these. There's no real reason to anyway. Regenerate strings. And then over here, it's going to be, oh, I guess sync. Update submodule. There. Nice. Currently making dinner. It's 5:33. Oh, okay. Good morning to you then. What are you making for dinner? And hey, Phil. And howdy, Xyletics. So now if we go to weblate.skeleteller.com, we should see all of these new strings. And actually, the thing that I'm interested in seeing is I put a note somewhere. Where does that note show up? Where does that note show up? Did I? Oh, maybe I deleted it. Oh, here it is. Okay, Ice Blast. We got to go find Ice Blast. I don't know how you find, maybe we type it here. Ice. There it is. Okay, now where does this show up? I don't see anything here. This isn't good. No. It should say grants the whatever ability, which blasts a single enemy. Okay, that's what I gotta search for. Blast. Here it is. Aha, here it is. Source string description. The final param is a note. Yeah. All right. Hey, Dad walking. I want to write this in here somewhere. Dash add comments. Add comments means that comments in C# that start with that, which immediately precede a translation call and make it to the file. This can be helpful if there's any context you want to add. If using Weblate, this will show up. This will show to translators. I'd like to do this. What is this? Why is this red? Maybe it's just to indicate it's not a character. That might be fine. If I press enter here, what happens? Is it always shown red? Yeah, it does. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind that. I don't want the unsaved changes thing here either. Just reload. Hey, Stabo. You ever use ASP.NET, and what did you think about it? I might have, but if I did, it was very briefly, so I don't really have any thoughts about it. And it would have been a very long time ago, too. Yeah, I mostly did all my web stuff using Node. Hey, Captain Osa. Long time no see. New boss fight Wednesdays are my favorite. Everyone's got their own boss fight at some point in the week, right? All right, so I want to take a picture of this, but I want the picture to be as small as possible. So, like, we gotta... Yeah, there's only so much we can shrink this. Oh, you know what we could do, though? We could just shrink the whole page. I could do that. And then that looks pretty good. Okay, yeah, let's do that. You know, let's copy all the way down to here, maybe. Yeah. And then I want to paste this in. Oh, except I guess I want to put an arrow or something over here. Maybe an arrow like this. No, I don't want to block any real UI here. There. Okay. Now we do a 300 or something, 500. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Cool. All right, so how do we unwind all of this and get back to where we were? I think we're done with these, yeah. So now we can actually do the boss fight stuff. So let's close out of this stuff. So code the new bosses. Should we just do this in order? Enchantress, Slime, Phoenix, Plant, Yeti, Snake? I guess so. All right, let's kick it off. So what is the Enchantress doing? Where did the boss fights go? Here it is. So what did I settle on? Random graphics that all basically do the same thing. Attack. Maybe we could give a basic heal or a special graphic for some of the attacks, but it's not super important. Every time a summon takes damage, it gets redirected to the Enchantress. So AoE is good, but you can't actually kill the summons. Implementation, they have a lot of life. Give the Enchantress the Paladin's Holy Link. Okay. And we have an Enchantress graphic, but I think we're using it for just regular stuff, and we shouldn't be doing that. So I guess that's step one. Stop using the Enchantress graphic for regular enemies, or maybe use a reskinned one. What do we have here? How do I see these the way I want to? There we go. All right, so there's blue Enchantress. Let's open all these up. Opening GIMP. Actually, I don't even think I need to right-click and do that. I think I can just double-click. Green Enchantress. And I'm guessing we have one more color. Red Enchantress. Okay, so this is taking place at the crypt. We want one of these to be considered the boss version of this. Which one looks the most boss-like? I kind of like these two. I guess it doesn't really matter as long as we don't use it for anything else. So what, we go to all enemy data? And we're using the Enchantress for something, right? We have all three manifested here. All instance data, Enchantress. We have the red one, red one. Yeah, we're just using the red one. And the red one is this one. And that's what shows up in the Inferno. We also could just not use any of the other colors if we didn't want to. But yeah, let's go with the blue one, I think, as the summoner. So use the blue Enchantress for this. All right, so blue Enchantress is going to be renamed to maybe like Enchantress Boss. Enchantress Boss. Yeah. Or maybe like Elite Enchantress. That's probably better. Elite Enchantress. No, I want it the other way around. Okay, I renamed it like 4 times, but there we go. So now we have Enchantress Elite, and that's going to be the blue one. And it's going to have a couple of different abilities. I wonder if we can just give it Holy Link. That's not a thing you can do. It might be a thing you can do. How does this work? It applies the Holy Link buff. There's nothing Paladin specific about this, except for this. improved Holy Link, which you just won't have. Huh, yeah, interesting. This should just work, which is great. And I guess we should give them an attack. Maybe they don't have an attack. Wait, do they summon? Do the summons live for a certain amount of time? What do we say? Every time a summon. No, I didn't come up with all the details, I guess. All right, so yeah, I guess we have some questions here. How many summons should they have? Should they summon new stuff? The old stuff can't die, so I guess not. They don't really look like a summoner if you don't see them summoning, though. Maybe they keep summoning up until they hit 8 enemies. They start with 2. They could start with 2 summons and work their way up to 8. So that the fight gets harder. Wait, but won't the rogue just go after... Maybe the enchantress should be untargetable. Oh, that'd be kind of interesting. Start the battle with like 2 summons and have the enchantress keep summoning until she has a full party. Yeah. All right, so untargetable. I don't know how we do that. There's a component for it, but there's no ability that gives you the component. Untargetable by enemies. No, here it is. Shield of Unity buff. Oh, we could just give them Shield of Unity. Well, 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 this is all just becoming really simple, huh? So we gave them a paladin ability and a cleric ability. So now they'll share damage with allies and they'll be untargetable. Yeah. And then we need to give them a summon ability. So how about this? Let's give them summon zombie for now. Will summon zombie break anything? I just need to make sure there's nothing witch doctor specific about this. No, it looks like it's fine. If we search, yeah, it looks like it's fine. Interesting. Okay, so this on its own should be enough for us to kind of test something in a basic way. And then let's go modify the forest to become a boss location, just for the sake of easy testing. So instead of the forest having a bat, it's going to have the Enchantress Elite. And I guess technically we should spawn them in with a couple of summons. So let's make new, what is this? Count. Let's make 2 zombies. 2 enemy ID.zombie. They're gonna die because they take damage automatically. Although this might not work. I'm not actually totally sure. Let's just make them forest bats for now. Let's not make this anything too crazy. Because normally they'd be summons, but I guess they don't really have to be. They don't need to know about the summoner. Or she could have like a beginning of battle ability. Hey, Rami. What happened to my YouTube chat? Oh, here it is. Pop out. I keep forgetting to move this. Not that anyone's typing on YouTube. All right, so now what I want to do is skip the title screen altogether and just go into loading the game. How do we do that? Main scene, loading without intro, initial. I want to make it seem like it clicked load game for me. Hey, Alton. It's fun to see this boss development the last couple of days. Yeah, I think this will be fun to code. I haven't done new enemies or abilities in a while, and we have quite a lot to pull from now. I think there are going to be a couple of difficult things, but I'm hoping it's smooth sailing for a lot of this. So what am I looking for here? We're looking for when you get to the title screen, and we have a load button, or I guess it's like a story mode button. Yeah. And then this opens up a dialogue that says to load the game. And when you load the game, it calls load game. So we'll just call load game directly, and we shouldn't need to do anything, I think. All right, does that work? I'm gonna press F5, and hopefully it just puts us directly into the game, and I can just start a forest battle. Okay, did not put us directly into the game. I'm actually not sure why it didn't. Yeah, I wonder why. Huh. Strange. Hey, Sergeant Sam. Do you use one VS Code for everything or have instances or profiles for different uses? I tried to add LaTeX extensions and some configurations, but it broke my VS Code. So I wonder how I should approach it now. I use one for everything, yeah. Yeah. Also, I don't know if you've heard of this thing, but I've never used this myself. But apparently instead of LaTeX, some people are trying this now, Typest. And maybe it's worth looking into. It's supposed to be a little bit easier to use. I don't know why load game isn't working. I guess let's just put a breakpoint here and find out. This should be getting hit. It must just not, yeah, it's getting hit. And then what? GameSaver.load fails for some reason? Because what, is loading is true? No. Load story mode data is what I'm guessing we're going to go into here. Yeah. What? What's going wrong? Return true. Go back up to here. Loaded game.invoke. Oh, is something not listening to this yet? Oh, that's probably what's happening. Yeah, we need to wait for a frame, I think. Oh, it's for a course. Okay. Well, I guess if it's for a LaTeX course, then it could be different. But if it's just for typesetting in general, types might be pretty good. But anyway, yeah, I use one VS Code profile for everything. I don't have a reason to use it for anything else because in VS Code, you can set options based on what language you're in. So for example, with plain text, I have word wrap turned on, but I could set it so that to-do files don't have it turned on or something like that. So this is essentially like your profiles if you ever wanted them. You could just set things for specific languages. If for whatever reason you have like C# project A where you want word wrap on and then C# project B where you want it off, then yeah, maybe you need different profiles or something. Although at that point I just make a hotkey to change these things. But yeah, I don't really see a reason to have it if it's you, the user, just doing many different projects. All right, so yeah, I think I know what's wrong here, and I think we just need to change this to be in an async, like call next frame, await, timeout, load game. Why is this not working? Can let me call better than this. And then what? No, I definitely do this somewhere. Create timer. Oh, here it is. Now what's the problem here? Await can only be used with an async. Consider marking this async or changing its return type to task. I can't mark this async. Can I just run this anyway? Is this considered an error? It probably is. Yeah, I wish you luck, Sam. If you have some errors that are happening, I could potentially help you figure them out. All right, so yeah, I get the whole it can only be used in an async flow, but that means that these other ones are doing that? Yeah, they are. To signal. All of these are? Really? Oh, all right. I guess I misunderstood. But couldn't we just put this inside of some other function? Like private async? Yeah, something like this. Testeroni. And then just put this in there. And then just call the testeroni function. And this is a system.task, I think. System.threading.task. Yeah, great. Okay, I think that'll do it. So now after, yeah, well, it's 0.41 seconds because I just copy pasted. But after 0.41 seconds, it should just load the game automatically. Yeah, that's pretty good. And this way, all I have to do is click create instance here, and it should make an Enchantress battle. Yeah, it did. However, the Enchantress disappeared. Animation ability 1 doesn't exist. All right, I was worried about that. So summon zombie is not something we can use. But it's probably working. I need to see what's going on in this battle. So the Witch Doctor should be untargetable. And every time another enemy takes damage, they'll take damage. And then if the other enemies die, then she can take damage again. So at least in terms of the damage that she's doing, this is working fine. In terms of summoning zombies, it's not working, but that's because I gave her an ability that she shouldn't be using. Hey, Goose. Did you change your name color? I don't remember you being green. Or do you have it set to random, I guess? All right, so this doesn't need to be 0.41, but I don't care about the rest of this. And then we need to get the Enchantress to actually work. So there's Summon Zombie. This is close to what I want. I guess we need to figure out what we want from the summons themselves. I'm red in my end, didn't change anything. Oh, huh. Yeah, you're like a greenish color for me. You must have it set to random then, maybe? Unless you always show up as red for yourself. Okay, so what should the summons do? I think we already kind of answered. They just have a basic attack or a heal or something. But we do need to know which thing we're summoning. And it all depends on kind of how much flavor I want to add for this. Because we could just have them summon a bunch of like shadow mages the whole time. And no one else will know that these other graphics existed. And it's just, yeah, an enchantress followed by a bunch of mages, shadow mages. It would make things pretty easy. I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Let's just start coding this. Excuse me. Ability ID. So we have summon zombie. Yeah, I think we need a new thing here, like summon, maybe enchantress summon. So it's not named after what they summon. It's named after who's doing the summoning. All right, then we go to summon zombie and we save this as enchantress summon. So the enchantress every 5 seconds is going to summon something. I wonder how long this battle should last. I think I'm going to make it 4 seconds. So I'll summon something more frequently. Then this I don't care about. This I don't really care about. I don't care about any of that stuff. This is enchantress summon. The icon shouldn't matter. Does basic attack have an icon? Nope. Yep. And the display name also shouldn't matter. I don't want people to translate this if it's never going to show up. Summon shadow. Yeah, let's call it summon shadow. All right, so should summon leader is not a thing. This isn't needed. We just need the enemy ID. So we're going to have it summon forest bats at first because I don't want to code anything new yet. Team is going to be enemy. Why do we have to pass in the team? Huh, that's funny. We have the summoner. We could just figure out the team based on that. Huh? Okay. Well, anyway, that's the shadow. So if the shadow is null, don't do anything. Sure. Otherwise, set animation. We're not going to do that. Playing a sound. I actually think summoning not having a sound would be fine, but we do need to write this down. Make sure all abilities have sounds where applicable. Ones I didn't add sounds for. Enchantress summon. I don't think it necessarily needs a sound, and if it does need a sound, it can be something pretty subtle. But for now, let's just delete this. So, poisonous skin, zombie curse, zombie link. None of this stuff is really needed. And then get their stats and set what their stats are. This we need to do. Shadow battle stats. I don't care about this or this. So we're going to set the power to be... Oh, I guess we need the summoner power. Summon zombie. Where is summoner battle stats? Here it is. Okay, so we need that. I like that to be in the same order too. Yeah, summoner first. Okay, so we'll just give them the exact same power and let's just give them 0 fortitude. But then the life total is going to be pretty important. The life amount, is it life? How do I? Oh, it's a health component. Yeah, okay, so we don't call this zombie HC, we call this shadow HC and call this shadow. The max life is going to be set to a really, really large number. Literal of type double cannot be implicitly converted to float. Wow, what a crazy... I've never written something like this. 1E7F. This is a valid number. It's just one with 7 zeros after it, treated as a float. But it looks so funny to me. Like, what would I even think if I just stumbled on code like this? Huh. I wonder if you could do 1.0 E7? No, yeah, that's not possible. Oh, wait, no, it is possible technically, but no, yeah, okay. Well, whatever. All right, then heal to full. That sounds fine. So initialize, start a battle with this ability almost ready, so you don't have to wait long for the first zombie. I could do this, but you'll only get one summon if we do that. You know what'd be kind of cool is if there were 2 healers is all they got. Yeah, maybe they start with a healer. A while ago, I was writing some binary protocol stuff and wrapping my head around hex numbers and their significance stun locked me more than once. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the hex identifier 0x. But I don't know if you know this, but a lot of programming languages use 0 as an octal identifier. So if you type something like 010, it's actually the number 8 in decimal because 0 is sometimes used for octal. That I think is stupid. Well, I think it's stupid. There's probably some reasoning for doing it. But yeah, my personal opinion is it should have been something else. Not a number, ideally. Maybe like a D or something, or an O or something like that. So it stands out. But yeah, 0x I'm okay with. And then for binary, I think, what do people do? 0b, something like that a lot of time. Actually, even having 8x might have been fine as octal. All right, so I don't think we're going to do anything here. I think maybe these summons should be healers. No, they shouldn't be healers because then it'll take longer for you to lose the battle. These summons should be something that do damage, or else it'll take you longer to lose the battle. All right, description tooltip. I don't care about this. And then should summon zombie leader. I don't care about that either. All right, so now we go grant this ability to the enchantress. So instead of summon zombie, they get summoned shadow. Or no, enchantress summon. And it's not going to summon shadows. It's going to summon forest bats. So let's go try it out. Yeah. All right, so I hit create instance. So they start with 2 bats, and then they should be summoning more bats. They're not. Oh, there it is. Was that 4 seconds? Felt like longer. Yeah, so the bats have, what, 10 million HP? Why am I doing almost no damage? Oh, because I'm only sharing 15% with the... This doesn't feel right. It's working. It just, I don't think this communicates the right thing to the player. Yeah. Also, what's happening in terms of... Oh, they don't have any power? Is that what's happening right now? 0, 0, 500. Yeah, I was like, why are they all doing 0 damage? So that first number is the power. And given that this is the 3rd boss, it should probably be higher than whatever the dragon is. The dragon has 25. Except for this should be... This is like multiplied by 8. So I guess we should make this like 5. Yeah. Okay, let's try that. So now my characters should probably die. I'm not actually trying to balance this right now. I just want to make sure that this is working the way I expect. So now we create an instance. So these bats are going to do 5 damage, I think. They're doing 8. Why are they doing 8? Because basic attack has a power multiplier. Oh man, get damage. How does this work? Get power. It's just the power of the entity. What is going on then? Why is it doing 8 damage? Wait, no, some of these are taking like 4. The 4 makes sense. Why was I seeing an 8 here? Wait, now I'm not seeing any 8s anymore. What? Alright, off to YouTube. What's going on? Oh, the 8s were only showing on zombies. Oh, I don't care about that. At least I don't think I care about that. I should still have an answer for why an 8 is showing there. I don't know. Zombies don't have lower fortitude, do they? No. And they have the zombie curse, which is what makes them lose life every second or something like that. But the amount of damage it takes is based on a percentage of its life, its max life. So in this video, when we saw 11s and 8s show up over here. 11, 11. So 11 is the curse. I don't know what's doing 8 damage. Oh, man. Should not be that hard to figure out. Yeah, I don't have an explanation for that. And it's only showing up on zombies for some reason. Man. Oh my god. Oh, I understand now. There are 2 forest bats that start in the fight and they have 10 power. And the paladin absorbs 15% of that damage. Okay, I understand. Oh, that's super confusing. All right. Everything's working fine. I just forgot that when I start this battle, I start it with 2 different bats. They just happen to look the same. Okay, well, let's make these volcano bats so I don't forget. So now they'll be red. And by them being red, it's going to be obvious that there's more than one enemy in here. I don't even want them to be red. I don't want them to exist at all. But yeah, I created a problem for myself here. Yeah, so they're the red bats, and then they'll only summon green bats. Okay. Anyway, the thing I wanted to see is if I speed this up, like, does my team actually win? In this particular case, the answer is no. But in the case where I had a healer or something, it would have been yes. It'd be nice if these got more powerful. Maybe if they get to 8 summons, they get more powerful after that. Maybe the Enchantress buffs allies if the summon no longer works because the battlefield is full. All right, so this is done. This is done. Now we got to make those shadows. So let's start with just a shadow mage. Enemy ID. Make a shadow mage. All enemy data. We go plug this in somewhere. I guess next to the Enchantress. Yeah. Shadow mage. Shadow mage is going to look like... Oh, this won't work. I need to split these out into different graphics. Also, they don't even really need a death animation. All right, well, I can split them out into different graphics. That's not that hard. I believe I saw you using Docker one day. What do you use it for? So I used it the other day for Weblate. And in general, you'll see this happen more often than not where I use it to test new software to see if I like the software. So let's say I wanted to try, I don't know, Postgres for the first time. Instead of installing it and figuring out how to use it and everything and setting it up and configuring it, I just get like the Docker image for it. And then I'd connect to that Docker image and see, do I like using this database? And then if I don't like it, it's like, oh, just get rid of the Docker image and you're done. You don't have to worry about uninstalling something or doing something else. It's like you can just clean it up nicely. Now, if I end up liking the software, then I use the Docker image to run the software from then on. So now on my mini PC, I have Docker images for Abbott, which is my Twitch and Discord bot. I have it for Weblate. I have it for a database. And I think that's it. I might have something else on there for something. I don't remember what. So yeah, in general, I think it's just a nicer way to run software and not have to worry about configuring your device correctly. Like someday my mini PC will die. And the true test of my setup is going to be how hard is it to get a new mini PC and set it up to do exactly what it's doing now. And some things will be annoying. Like there are env files on there and they have things like, you know, username equals whatever, Adam, password equals some password here, and so on and so forth. There might be a lot of these variables. These I don't save anywhere because they've got passwords and stuff. So I'd have to recreate those files. Those would be annoying. Those are always annoying to do. So I have to go to like 7 different services and get API keys and passwords and stuff. But backing those up, you'd have to encrypt it if you were to do that. I really need to fix my .files install script. Yeah. This is like what they say. What's that aphorism? It's something like you don't have a backup unless you've tested the backup. Something along those lines. Like you might think, oh, I'm copying my database file or something like that, or some, you know, export, and I'm saving that somewhere. It's like, okay, that's good, but unless you've actually tried restoring from this exported file, you don't know for sure that you're even backing up correctly. You might find out that you're missing data or that there's some other assumption that needs to be made. So yeah, same thing with the .file stuff. It's like if you haven't tested it, it's well, I guess it's different there. It's not like mission critical stuff, hopefully. All right, so in all of these, they look exactly like this. We just need to split these into different files. Is this in the unused folder right now? Where does this even exist? I don't think they're in this folder. No, they're not. So they must be in the unused folder, or they're only in Discord. I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't see anything here. Where'd this come from then? Yeah, it must be Discord. Well, then I want to save this into the unused folder at the very least. Export. Where do we put this? Home temp. So Enchantress Shadow Summons. Now I gotta go find that. Temp Enchantress Shadow Summons. Yeah, so we paste this into here. Nice. Hey, Matt. I see, smart. I'm currently learning and going to use Docker and Kubernetes for my next exam project. Those are mandatory. Yeah, I think that if you were to compare, even just in that simple case where it's like, hey, I want to use a database, think of installing it versus using Docker. And almost certainly using Docker is going to be easier. In fact, if I search like PostgreSQL Docker, it's probably just like run one command here. Yeah, so pick which one you want and then just run it. And you'll have a database up and running. How's the progress? It's going well. We were finally coding bosses and it's been pretty neat to do. I am just about to add in some of these shadow characters. So we're going to start by adding in the shadow mage. There's one tiny problem here and it's getting all of the right pixels. So the mage pixels go to this level. I need to be selecting. No, you know what we should do? We should just open up the regular mage and just make sure it matches. Where's the regular mage? Characters? Adventurers in battle is what it is, I think. Oh, man. All right, well, let's just take a look. The bottommost pixel is here. Is this a multiple of 20? No, it is not. So it's 59. So they are bottom aligned. And then the top of the hood should be, yeah, it's aligned to a multiple of 20. So top of the hood needs to be at 20. So I think we've selected this correctly. So I'm going to make a new image. This should be the right size. Whoops. I meant to click this. 128 by 40. Looks good. All right. And now we save this as the Shadow Mage. So what is the path to Skeleteller here? Code Godot. Oh, man, I don't want a path to this. Just save it in the temp folder. All right, so Shadow Mage. A little unreliable for some people. It's always done okay for me. Yeah, I think it's worked pretty well for me there too. Why is this mage shadowed out? Shadow bosses? This is so the enchantress is gonna summon some shadow summons. I said that kind of stupidly, but yeah, they're gonna summon something from this sheet. We have 8 of the adventurers, and I'm not totally sure what I want the logic to be for this. Because what you might have done if this were a manually controlled game is you'd make all of them reflect what their main characters do. So the Shadow Warrior would have like a taunt and it'd have counterattack. You'd have the Shadow Rogue have execute and have Cloak of Shadows. It's not really going to be communicated all that well if we did that here. But it would be kind of neat if they summoned one of each of these. In battle, yeah. So I think what we're going to do instead is cut a corner at first and just make it summon shadow mages that all shoot fireballs at you. Next playtest is going to be so fresh. Yeah, it definitely will be. It would be nice to use all these graphics, though. I guess I'll write this down. Clean up. So if I use all of the Enchantress graphics, then delete the sprite sheet from unused. Yeah, it would be nice to have all these. I don't want to... There's one other thing we would need to do to make all these characters convincing. Like, the mage can't shoot a full color red fireball. It should shoot a dark fireball, like a shadow blast. And same thing with the archer. They shouldn't shoot a wooden arrow. It should be like a dark arrow. Same thing with the golem. I think those are the only ones with the projectiles. Everyone else should be pretty much fine. Right? No other projectiles? Yeah. I don't know what the witch doctor would do because they'll have no space to summon zombies. Maybe the witch doctor just powers up the other characters and they're the final summon. Yeah, that could be what we do. This all depends on how in-depth we want to get with this. All right, where's the idea that I had here? Yeah. Maybe the final summon is the witch doctor and they start empowering the zombies. Or the other summons, the shadows. I don't know. If you get to that point, you've pretty much lost the fight. And what does that mean? You start with 2, so there are 6 slots remaining. And we said it's every 4 seconds. So after 24 seconds, the fight gets really tough. I think that's a pretty reasonable amount of time. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get to it. Yeah, there is a lot to this. And this has been straightforward so far. It's just, there's still a lot to do. All right, so where did Shadow Mage go? Did I actually save that? There it is. All right, so put this in monsters. Now we have our Shadow Mage somewhere. Oh, did I put it in alphabetical order already? Yeah, there it is. A perfect alibi. Maybe they revive dead shadow adventurers to weaker versions. They won't die, the shadows. They have like 1 billion HP or something. But if they could die, then having them revive them would make sense. But yeah, they won't die. So Shadow Mage is going to be Shadow Dash Mage, which means I should rename this. Shadow Mage, where are you there? All right, rename you to Shadow Dash Mage. Hey, Galaxy Inferno. Just realized that it makes 30 slides presentable tomorrow. Oh boy. Yeah, well, we'll be working together then. Hey, Codex. So Shadow Mushy is even more useless than Mushy. It'd be funny if they just do nothing. It'd also be funny if it was randomized and if you saw like 8 Mushy enemies, then it's just like, oh, it's a free win. Hey, Cruddlefish. 5 more days to finish my duck hunting game and revamp, and the majority of the time sink has been finding and modifying the art. Yeah, in this case, we don't have difficult modifications to make. Like, I could probably do this stuff myself. If we go into... Where does this stuff even show up? I don't actually know. Particles? No. Where do we keep the fireball? Battle? Ah, here they all are. Yeah, so if I open up, where's Fireball? Here. If I open up Fireball and I were to just desaturate it or something, did that open? What is going on? There it is. Yeah, so what I think would look fine is if I just do this maybe. Wait, no, that. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. Yeah, that looks really cool actually. So that's probably what we'll do. In fact, I'll just click OK on this so I don't lose this image. Use tabs inside Finder. Well, in this case I do, yeah. Okay, so now we have Shadow Mage. This is going to use... how's this going to work? I want it to be like a dark fireball. We're going to have problems with this, aren't we? Yes, because it's pretty much just a projectile, but it's got a different color. And we have no easy way of doing that, I guess. Oh, in fact, we have even less of an easy way of doing this. We need to change to a different scene path, I suppose. Could we do this somehow? I guess what we could do is just dynamically, if they have the fireball ability and they're a summon, we could just use a different thing here. So to do, use a shadow fireball. If the entity is a summon, no, we can't do this because we won't have this animation. It's not going to exist. Oh, man. Maybe I should make it so that we can reuse this. Or maybe I should make a generic, like, shoot projectile, and we just customize it with the sound, the scenes, the anything else. Yeah, that's what we'd have to do. Those are going to be a little bit tedious. So if the sprite doesn't have this animation, shouldn't we just... Oh, maybe they don't even have this component. Who gets a battle animated sprite component? Doesn't everybody? Huh. Is this in Battler? It is in Battler. And everyone gets one. So then this is not a problem. The problem is if we don't have the animation. Yeah, we never check it here. If can we check like has animation? Animation. Well, come on. Maybe it's in the sprite frames has animation. Oh, nice. There it is. Yeah, so if it does not have the animation, then just return. All right, there we go. So then now this will work, and now this will work. And how about we do something special here? How about we do this? We will do if ECS has component is summoned, I think it's called, is summoned component. Then we change the scene path. To be an arrow? We don't have an arrow. What do I do for shooting an arrow then? Oh, it's just hard-coded? Yeah, whatever, fine. All right, so if you're summoned, we'll make it this, and if you're not summoned, we'll make it a fireball, and then we'll use the scene path here. All right, I think that'll work. Now we go change summon. So we have Enchantress summon to summon a Shadow Mage. And then let's stop the battle from having volcano bats at first. And maybe we can change the Enchantress summon at the beginning of the battle to just summon 2 things immediately. That would be great. How do we do that? I'm not sure this is even possible. We're about to find out, though. So we just call use twice. Entity and battle system. So source, battle system. So that'll make them summon 2 Shadow Mages to begin with, and then they'll summon a 3rd one after 4 seconds. All right, let's try it out. And the Shadow Mage, if it works correctly, is going to start shooting arrows at the enemy, just because I didn't put the shadow graphic in yet. All right, they're the two shadow mages. Are they shooting arrows? No, they're not. Why not? All right, let's find out why not. Oh, because they only have basic attack. I forgot to... Okay, never mind. This was a very basic problem. I just need to give them fireball. There. Oh, and then we need to give them... No, we don't need to give them power. Or life, actually. In fact, we could just set their life here to 1 billion. And we could actually make it so that they can die. I guess they don't need to have 1 billion life. They could just have a reasonable amount of life. That's very high. So are they shooting arrows? No, they're not. Oh, wait, that one is. They're hitting enemies, though. Wait, what? Oh, no, they're not. Never mind. I see what's happening. There must be errors printing out on the console. Yeah, there are. Battle system type and battle system variable name feels kind of icky to me. This is pretty common. You'll typically have like animal equals whatever, some new thing. So the type being capitalized and then the instance of it being lowercase is pretty common. All right, what's going wrong here? Unable to cast object of type compressed text. Oh, I see what's happening here. This is not actually a scene. So we need something that is a scene. Maybe rock throw has a scene. Does it? Scene, rock. Yes. Okay, so then we'll make it a rock. Scene paths dot rock. Rock doesn't have a D in it. Oh, I have seen that from a long time ago, Mitch. I just forgot. All right. So they'll throw rocks now. Yeah, nice. Nice. Okay, I was wondering why I did any of this, and then I remembered. I'm like, isn't this functionally equivalent to just having this thing be the only thing that can be targeted? But it's not. The whole point of this is for AoE to matter in this battle. So this is the only thing that really takes any damage. But anyone else who tries to take damage gets it transferred to this character. In fact, what if we transferred 100% of the damage to that character? Huh. I don't know. Let's not worry about that. Okay, so how about this? Let's get the shadow fireball thing. And let's see if we can just do this by changing fireball in here. So here is the fireball. What if we just changed the modulate on this and made this darker? Honestly, that's not bad, is it? Yeah, I don't think that's bad. Should we also change the color a little bit? It's not going to be very obvious that it's even changing. Yeah, it's not going to be obvious. Is it obvious when it's like this? No, because I'm not doing anything. Okay, that's obvious. So I could have it be... I could have it... Oh, what am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just changing random colors and seeing if it looks good. Oh, we could change the overall color of the fireball. So they're like greenish or maybe even bluish. I don't think that's... That is kind of cool. But I wonder if just lowering this is fine. I think just go back to HSV. Yeah, so that would be our shadow fireball. Does that look better or worse than this? This one looks a lot cooler, doesn't it? I think this looks better than what we have over here. Yeah, I think this looks better. So I think we should save this one. Fine. Fine. So export as, I guess we call this shadow fireball, which means then we need a new scene. We save this as, oops, no, we don't save this at all. We just don't save it. Go back into that fireball and save this as shadow fireball. And then just use a different graphic here. Battle, shadow, zoom in a lot, and then increase this until it works. (24 by 24). Okay, now we click, 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 click. And delete, 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 delete. So here's what our shadow fireball looks like when animated. Is that right? Yeah, that's probably right. It's going to shoot so fast it doesn't matter. Next time we save that. And then we get scene paths, fireball, shadow fireball. And then we use that for this one. And now we're going to shoot shadow fireballs. Let's try it out. By the way, I am only part of the way done with the Enchantress, and it's been like an hour. And it's not like I've been stuck on something. It's just there's a lot to do. So yeah, this is probably going to take all day, and we might not get done with everything. All right, so let's take a look. Yeah, they're shooting shadow fireballs. Does that look good? Was it smart of me to do this? I like that. I think that's nice. It's not going to be 4 mages, probably. But yeah, this is pretty cool. All right, yeah, neat. Okay, so one summon down. We've got the mage. Now we should probably go add in a shadow archer. So yeah, let's get this. I gotta get the right pixel here. Whoops. Wait, is there a problem with this? It looks like the hand is cut off. Although you'll never see the death animation for this, so I guess it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, it does look like there's a problem for that. Huh. I wonder if... I wonder if I can revive that. Characters. Oh, we already have this open. So this is what it looked like in the non-shadow version. And then this is what the shadow version looks like. Can I put these next to each other? Yeah, I think something got messed up here. Yeah, I don't think anyone will ever notice it anyway. It's supposed to be gooey slimy, so those drips as they died. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh. I see. Okay, I think only the archer has a stray pixel. I get that it's a drip, but none of the other ones have that. But yeah, I think that'll work. Also, hi, Quickie Joe. Okay, so we got to pull this from the same location we pulled the other one from. Let's take a look. This pixel is at a 20 boundary, which means that this foot pixel must also be at a 20 boundary. Yeah. Wait, but doesn't that put it on the next? No, it's not on there. It's that I want. That 1 pixel right there. I want this to be exactly 40 pixels there. Perfect. Okay, so we save that, we paste that. This should look good. Yeah. Now we export that as assets, monsters. Oops. Shadow Archer. All right, now we just keep plugging these things in, huh? Shadow Archer. Looks good, looks good. This one has... What does the Archer do? I guess Quick Shot, maybe? What does Quick Shot look like? Oh, these all have their own power scaling, too. I didn't think about that. I think that's okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. Then we have a modulate over here. I guess I want to change this based on whether this is a summon. Okay, so color modulate equals this. So this should be like color dot dark gray, colors dot dark gray. Otherwise, it's going to be color dot from HTML. I wanted to type out what it has there. Yeah, nice. All right, let's go try that. So we got to make the summon. Enchantress summon should now summon Shadow Archers. Archer. And then I'll write to do base the summon ID on how many allies you have. All right, so we don't make a special graphic for this because we're just going to modulate them black. I think it'll look okay, though. All right, so now we create this instance. So now they'll only have archers, and they're shooting darkened arrows. Yeah, that works pretty well. I was thinking we darken this even a little bit more. They don't have an attack animation, though. I know that Quickie Joe drew them. I'm just not using them. Oh, man. Okay. That's... If we want to give them proper animations, this is going to be annoying. And I guess the mage didn't have any animations either. At least they're shooting these correctly. Because all the animation stuff that I do is based on whether or not we... Wait a second. What is this based on? Has attack animation init. Enemy data dot has death has attack. Oh, interesting. I didn't know this was a thing. Huh. So I guess we could use this. Okay, well, that's what I'm going to do when we come back from the break. So give the shadow characters attack animations. Yeah. There's a precedent for this. So it shouldn't be too bad. Oh man. All right, yeah. Well, still there's a lot to do. I'm hoping the Enchantress doesn't take like half of today, and then I get to one more boss and I'm done, and it's going to take me another like 2 days. But whatever. Like I said, it's not like we're stuck on something. It's just taking time. So I will take my break now. Is it jump time? It's jump time. I'm back. Hello. My trigger phrase for coming back is I'm back, and I think you heard me say it that time because I didn't see it trigger the first time. Close the game. Excuse me. Close the game. And also, GG. Okay, so I've made a mistake. I need... Oh, wait, I have the attacking animation. Oh, wait a second. Then we're just not using it? Or is it a special animation? Do we have an attack animation here? Has attack 2. Something's amiss. Let's put a breakpoint here. Just restart the fight. Should break in immediately. Good. And then we go into this, and this should exist now. It does not. Gasp. Why not? Oh, because I never manifested it. Oh. Oh, why didn't someone in chat tell me that? Okay, so I think there's a way to do this. Has attack animation. Wait, is that just by default true? So it's manifested for everybody? No, it's not by default true. What? Okay, so then we just put this here, right? And here, I guess. And then run this again. Can't believe I got banned from his Discord. You know, I don't have a way of knowing if anyone's joking about this. So if anyone actually did get banned, they would need to let me know. But howdy, Paj. I've got to modify the bot so that it tells me when it bans somebody. All right, so now we try this again. And we should see them use an attack animation. Yeah, perfect. That is great. That's exactly what I wanted. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm not joking. I couldn't resist. Are you serious? It deletes all. Oh, man. Fine, I'll write this down for tomorrow. Unban Page from my Discord. But why? I started watching a new YouTube video, and then it turned into another YouTuber talking, and I stopped paying attention anymore. So I'm like, I'm on this channel for Page, not for whoever this is. All right, so we fixed this part. I wonder if it fixed the fireball thing. Oh, I didn't notice it for fireball. It's more glaring when it's the archer. So let's just do this and try this out. I can't be trusted. So can I ask for real here, if you could be honest for just a sec, like what caused you to do it? Is it just like oh, there's a sign saying don't push the button, so I pushed the button? Or was it like I'm going to test to see if Adam coded this correctly? I'm fine with any answer here. I'll unban you. I'm just curious. Okay, the first one. Okay, yeah. Cool. From man stabbed. What are you gonna do to stab me? Oh man. All right. Well, I really hope many people don't do the same thing because it is kind of tedious to unban, and then in this case we don't have to restore chat messages, I guess. Hey, nice. They use the spell animation. I like that. Okay, cool. So we have 2 of these. We need, what, 6 more? Do I even want to make 6 more? I guess I do. Yeah, I guess I do. Okay, let's do it. What's going on here? I can't tell how many characters or how many of these pixels I actually have selected. I think that's the right amount. So this now needs to be 40 pixels tall. Yeah, nice. Close a window very carefully like defusing a bomb. Yeah, I think it's a shame that we have to do this. I can't think of any other solution necessarily. because I don't know if their message. Unfortunately, it doesn't. When you ban people on Discord and it deletes all their messages, you don't know what was deleted exactly. So unless someone took a picture first, I don't know the contents of these spam messages to be able to identify if there's a pattern. Like, let's say they all included something like click here to download something for money or whatever. You'd be like, oh, okay, click here to download something for money. We'll just make this a phrase and this will become bannable. Or it'll at least like stop the messages or something like that. I don't know what they're typing, so I don't know what I could even flag. And ideally, Discord stops this sort of thing from happening. It's like the pattern is someone joins the server and then they spam each available chat channel. And it's usually got an image in it. And like, is that behavior ever something you expect someone to do on any server ever? Although I get that if Discord clamped down on this, then spammers would work around it. I know it's an arms race. It's weird that Discord immediately showed the channel at the top as suggested with a sparkly label. Very tempting. Yeah, I've got to have it log who it bans. And that way, if someone does accidentally type there, I could just be like, oh yeah, they're okay. I'll just unban them. All right, so we got the Shadow Golem. Let's go type this in. Shadow, whoops. Shadow Golem. All right, now we go to enemy ID and we add in the Shadow Golem, all enemy data, Shadow Golem, and they have rock throw. Now I need to click Godot to give them the graphic, and then rock throw is its own scene, so we need a shadow rock, but rocks are already gray. We could just modulate it, I guess. Yeah. Which is what Quickshot is doing. Modulate. So if it has the entity, then modulate it dark gray. Otherwise, colors dot white. And then projectile dot modulate. And then change Enchantress summon to summon shadow golems. All right, let's try that out. All right, so we just want to make sure they're throwing rocks and that the rocks look like they're slightly darkened. They are slightly darkened. Is there a darker gray than dark gray? Has humanity made such a thing? There's dim gray. Which one's darker, dim or dark? How do we even find out? C# colors. Dark gray. Okay, so it's A9, 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 and dim gray is 696969. So dim gray is actually darker than dark gray. Yeah. Isn't darker gray just black? Yeah, I want there to be some details. If I modulate this black, then there will be no details. Hey, ABC. All right, so now it should be darker than... here's the picture of dark gray. So I could save this. And here's the picture of dim gray. And yeah, you can see that they're darker. So this is dim gray, and this is dark gray. So yes, dim gray is exactly what I want. It makes it look like they're hurling coal at the enemy. Well, that looks pretty good. In fact, actually, maybe we should do that for this too. Should replace this with dim gray. Yeah, I think that's pretty nice. Okay, so now we have 3 of the 8 characters. The others should not be so bad because they don't have projectiles. Yeah. I'm a dim wit. Why would C# do that? Dim, lighter than dark? No, dim is darker than dark. It goes dim, then dark, then light. Oh, you're saying that dim should be lighter than dark. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yes, they have light. They have something. They have medium as well. They have medium yellow. No, they don't. All right, we just search for yellow though. What do we find? Light. Yeah, there is no other. There's dark, there's dim, there's regular, there's light, and then for gray at least there's also slate, but that's just a different color. So yeah, that's the order that it is for this stuff. I wonder how many dim colors they even have. Oh, just the one. Oh. Okay. Sorry to sound like Path of Exile. Well, then they have epic and then legendary. So I think legendary gray is what we want to use for this. It's got more modifiers than the regular gray. All right, let's go add in. Should I even add in some more? I probably should. Yeah, let's add in some more. All right, 128 by 40. So we paste this over here, export as Shadow Warrior. Shadow Warrior was the name of a game. It's actually pretty good. Then click this, then do all the other stuff. Enemy ID, Shadow Warrior, all enemy data. Get ourselves a Shadow Warrior. Should know how to fix this. Yep, good. And then give it, I guess, Crush. And then make the Enchantress summon Shadow Warriors. HTML colors from standard. They also have dim gray. They do have dim gray. And they have it with 2 spellings as well. Okay, let's try this. So we should see warriors now. And the warriors can miss when they attack. Yeah, that one missed. But when they do hit, they do more damage than regular, yeah. I like this a lot. I think this is pretty cool. I think this will make for an interesting fight. Gonna refill my coffee before I get sucked into the semantics of this stuff. I got into a rant about my son playing Fortnite and trying to understand the difference in loot where rare and uncommon mean the same thing, so it makes no sense to me. I mean, they do generally mean the same thing, but I think they connote different things. And rare generally, I think, means rarer than uncommon. At least to me. So, yeah, go refill your coffee. All right, so we got 4 of them. We might as well add in all of them at this point. Where did the sprite sheet go? Oh, you can't scroll this? I have to click? Seriously? Oh, that's a pain. All right, so we got the warrior, mage, then we need the rogue. Need to be 40 pixels. There we go. Was WoW the game that normalized rarities in their colors? Common, uncommon? The earliest game I know that, I don't know about normalizing their colors. I think games do use different colors, but Diablo item rarities. Diablo 1. Diablo 1 had item rarities. I don't remember what they all were, though. Oh, they just had normal and unique? No, that can't be true. Weren't there... Or maybe normal was blue items in there? Item rarity calculator? What does it even do? All right, well, I don't know. Anyway, Diablo 2 is the first game I remember that had a lot of different rarities. There was like broken, it wasn't called broken, then regular, then magic, rare, set, and unique. Was there anything else? I mean, there were also like runes and stuff. I mean, I think it was those, and crafted. But this probably really came from like Dungeons and Dragons. I feel like practically everything in video game RPGs somehow came from Dungeons and Dragons. And it kind of makes sense. It's like before computers were a thing, you could still have books and enact this stuff yourself if you wanted to. But I was surprised when I played WoW first and then Dungeons and Dragons second, and I was surprised at how many ability names were directly taken from Dungeons and Dragons. And it's probably not surprising to other people, but it's surprising to me. All right, so this is the rogue. Let's go export this. Let's just export all the graphics for now because we know we're going to use them all at this point. So there's a shadow rogue. Then we need the other shadowy characters. So I should probably close some of these now. Don't want to close that one. All right, this one is the Shadow Cleric. I guess they'll be a healer. We have death animation, so I kind of want to use them. But I don't really want the summons to die. Shadow Cleric. Let me write this down. Consider whether we should have the summons die at some point. We have their death animations, after all. Makes me realize how immature my humor is. Like knowing your dad is watching your content. Okay, so I will say this. Honest sort of feedback is that there are a lot of jump cuts that you have. And I think if you're not watching, it's fine because it feels like a continuous line of speech, but it would feel better if, well, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't feel better. I guess the ranty feel is what you want from the video. So there's bound to be some filler in there. All right, go over to here. All right, Shadow Paladin. Got it. Export. According to the internet, sort of started with Diablo 2 and then WoW's popularity kind of stamped into place. Yeah. You know how many ums and likes and awkward pauses I have to cut out? Well, I figured that that's what's leading to that. But I do think if you want a more polished presentation in general, it would either be show gameplay so that it's not the jump cuts showing, or try to remove the jump cuts. And the only way to really remove the jump cuts in that case would be to fix your speech. But anyway, like I said, honest feedback. You've certainly given me honest feedback about all of my things that I've ever worked on. And I'm not saying this to tear you down or anything. It's truly just a, here's what I noticed as a viewer. And I think you had the same style in your Path of Exile video that did very well. And so I don't think it's necessarily stopping success on YouTube. All right, so now we have all the characters. Now we should go manifest them all in here. Enemy ID, so Shadow Rogue, Shadow Cleric, Shadow Paladin, and Shadow Witch Doctor. There's a thing here for dim gray. Wait, why didn't that work? It doesn't expand it for me. Where's dim gray in here? Shouldn't it be a... Huh, that's weird. Anyway. How nice I've been to you. Page, colon, anything but nice. Then they mostly gone with the same color coding for rarity the WoW has. Those sorts of things I think are interesting because if you're going to have the system in the game, you kind of want there to be some standards so that you don't have as much to learn. Like imagine a game that turns everything on its head. You'd have to keep in mind that that's how that game worked. Like in Pokemon, for example, water beats fire. This is pretty common in a lot of games. And now imagine if they did it the other way around. Water didn't do anything to fire. You'd be like, what? Like, that's not what I expect in the game. And I get that that's how that works in real life too. But imagine it was just something totally concocted. Like fairy Pokemon and ghost Pokemon or something. It's like, okay, there's no precedent in real life for that. All right, so we loaded in all the graphics. We got to go get all the enemy data now. And then we got to have them summon these. So I want Rogue, Cleric, Paladin, Witch Doctor. This will be Rogue. And give them Quick Attack. Quick Strike? Quick Strike. And then Cleric. And they're going to get Heal. And then Paladin. I don't know what the Paladin should even get. Maybe just basic attack. And what's the last one? Witch Doctor? I don't know what the Witch Doctor should get either. X-Taurus. It's a familiarity principle. You want to give players what's known so they can focus on other aspects of your game, the uniqueness. Yeah, I think there's always a question of, does it feel like a ripoff of something else? And I kind of talked about this. If you think about what is a genre is something that has some defining characteristics. And if you're talking about, let's say, an RPG, it's going to be things like probably leveling, like equipment, maybe more story than other games. Maybe it's got more cutscenes than other games. I don't know. You put some things in this genre such that when you play a game, you'll be like, oh, this is really similar to some other game because of the defining characteristics being the same. So if we get narrower than just RPG and we talk about a Vampire Survivors or a Survivors-like game, now you're talking about like hordes of enemies, tons of abilities, maybe like bullet heaven sort of thing, whatever else you might throw in here, such that now these feel very similar to one another. But it's really just the genre. Hey, Quirp. I feel like in Magic, it's not really about elemental archetypes. They feel more like red is destruction, blue is control, green is growth. They just happen to also have water, fire, nature creatures. Yeah, and different games have done different things along these lines. Like Pokemon has the whole type strength and weaknesses and everything else. Diablo 2 just has resistances. So it's like, yeah, you have fire resistance. You're not a fire attuned creature or something. You just have a fire resistance. And Magic the Gathering did the actual colors of cards. Black and white and red and green and blue. Yeah. All right, so what's a Witch Doctor doing here? What will let them power someone else up? I guess let's give them Blessing of Haste and maybe something else. What should this something else be? I want it to be some other buff. But obviously, I want it to be a buff that I've already coded. So I don't need to do this again. What else have we coded? Is there anything that just straight up buffs your team? None of that stuff. None of that stuff. No, none of that. Not really. There aren't really many team buffs. There's Invigorate. Upon dying, increase the power of your allies. Huh. Nothing just... Yeah, nothing really works here. We could give them the dog spirit ability, and then they'd say bark every time they attack. Oh, man. All right, well, we could make a power buff, I guess. Reaching out to artists this week for Steam graphics work. Overwhelming? Yeah, it is definitely overwhelming. I think Steam itself, it's like if you have a game already, you've already done it, it's perfect. Everyone loves your game. And all you want to do is put it onto Steam. That already represents a week or 3 weeks of work. It's not trivial. And usually people don't have a fully completed game. They've got like a partially completed one, and then they need to keep updating the Steam page. All right, well, Blessing of Haste is, I guess, at least the starting thing we can do for this. So now I want them to just randomly summon one of these things. So let's go to enemy ID and get all of these. And go to Enchantress and say enemy ID shadow IDs. There we go. Enemy ID dot. All right, so there are all the shadow IDs. And now whenever we summon something, we just want to sample one of those. And then delete this. Oh, wait, no, that to-do item is still needed. Okay, so this will probably work, but it's going to be really, really hard to tell which characters are doing what. So maybe... Well, let's try it. But we should test them individually. Yeah, we should test them individually. All right, so there's an archer and a witch doctor. The witch doctor casts haste on all of them. It's not casting haste. There it is. There's haste. Why is that taking forever? And then what's this? A cleric? They're healing? How much are they healing for? Oh man, it's really hard to tell. 3? That's nothing. Yeah, they should probably heal for more than that. Then the rogue is hilarious to me because they're attacking so quickly that they're constantly poisoning themselves. And then they're taking tons and tons of damage, which is getting redirected over to here. Actually, is it? I guess not. Maybe I should make them immune to poison. Because this is distracting. Or just give them a basic attack. Yeah, probably a basic attack. That way they just don't attack so quickly. Although that's what makes the rogue the rogue. Yeah, I think we need to just make them immune to poison. We don't have an easy way of doing that, though. Give the rogue shadow immunity to poison. Oh, how do we do this? All right, how does poison work? Poisonous skin. This works by just adding the poison effect. So maybe we should make it so that it can remove the poison from itself. No, but it's still going to show poison all the time. I'd love to just not have this happen. Maybe we could check first if they're going to be poison immune. How often do we do this? Literally just there. Oh, okay, that's easy. All right. What's your opinion of on combat in this game? I see you put a lot of effort into the skills and stuff. When you talk about it, I get the feeling you don't want it to be a min-max in-depth combat-centric game. Yeah, that's essentially my opinion. I feel like the game should be casual. The combat system should be interesting. And people who want to, like, min-max can still do something to that end. But it isn't necessarily rewarded as much as in other games. And yeah, I don't see that as being a problem in any way. Hey, PWS, how you doing? Long time no see. What has been up? The way I think about this, I think here's sort of the full explanation of this stuff, is let's say you went in the opposite direction. Let's say that every character just had an attack, defense, and speed stat. And they attacked every, like, speed seconds for attack minus defense damage. If you did this, this would be like one of the most basic battle systems you could have. And I think this would be very boring to watch and like boring to allocate skill points, because what would the skill points even do? It'd be more like stat points. So now if you went in the like full-on strategic battles, you need a proper feedback system for acting on that strategy and understanding where your strategy went wrong. And in my mind, this is not what the casual game is all about. So instead, what we settle on, if this is like extreme number 1, super simple, and this is extreme number 2, which is, yeah, full-on strategic battles, we are in the middle, but closer to extreme number 1. Have you revisited random skills unlocking change? I feel like that took away all my choice over min-maxing combat. The random skills is only in bone mode, but bone mode is all about randomness. And no, I have not revisited that because my stance back then is exactly the same stance as now, which is if you could choose, you would always choose the same things in the same order. There'd never be a reason to change. Again, because the battle system doesn't give you a reason to change. So in the main story mode, it still works the same way it always did. You can be like, oh, I want to take a point out of here. I want to put it into this. And you can do that. And the order, just to be clear again here, it is in this order that you unlock the skills. So when you hit level 12, you'll have all of them. And you can pick where you want to allocate them exactly. So you can't, if you're level 2, put a point into like Pierce Armor. That just won't be unlocked. But that's pretty much how every RPG works. So I don't think that's a problem. I'm doing Discord made me write TOS and privacy policy for my bot and remind me of you, so figured I'd drop by and say hi. Working 3 hours a day for a former coworker turned friend. Some good, some bad, but a good balance. Well, that's good to hear, and thanks for the update. Yeah, the terms of service and privacy policy I think is pretty important for any sorts of things with Discord. Plus, I've heard of all sorts of things going wrong on the platform. That actually makes a ton more sense because you want RNG to affect speedrunning a bit. Makes it more fun when you get the God Seed. Well, and also just this is the reason why not to do it. Whether or not you're speedrunning, imagine if the skills were named like this. Most powerful skill, second most powerful skill, and sucky skill. That sometimes helps. So what are you going to do? You're going to prioritize this in exactly this order, right? You're going to max this out first, then you're going to get this, then you're going to get this. So that if you're given a skill point, you're like, oh man, +1 skill point, awesome. It's not actually awesome. It's just a chore because you're going to be like, oh, I always put it into this skill. Like, I already know what the best build is. People have already meted the whole game out or something. So I feel like for bone mode, at least, that would be a bad idea to let people put skill points in, given that you do like 20 runs or something. We'll ban you if you type in a specific room. Needs to be a lot more clear if they were all named like that. Just saying, yeah. Fire skill that you shouldn't put points into. Had ChatGPT do most of it, but I'm happy with the result. Yeah, I think in a lot of cases, and this kind of sucks to think about, but in a lot of cases, doing your due diligence doesn't actually matter. As an example, I talked about this a while ago with just e-commerce sites. Like, how many of these sites properly remit consumption taxes to the respected governments? Like, not a ton of small ones, I can tell you that. Unless you're using a service that acts as a merchant of record. But otherwise, it's like, yeah, whatever. A government's not going to come after you for, $1,000 in sales or something like that. And when they finally would want to come after you is when you look into it. So it's like, it actually behooves you to just not do the right thing in that case. And it's sort of the same way with these privacy policies in terms of service. Discord needs it. Maybe there's some legal obligation they have because it's user-generated content in the form of bots. But who's going to actually care? Who's going to look into this? Who's going to sue you or Discord in any case? It's like there'd have to be some severe breach of privacy. How much I missed the stream in the background working? Well, I'm still here. You can still watch. All right, I want to make a poison immunity thing. How do we do this? So we need something that grants a buff. Yeah, what's a good example? I guess counterattack is a pretty good example. All right, and we'll call this poison immunity. Oh, you know what? Actually, what we could do is we could just make this a component if we wanted to. Let me think about that. What's the color scheme? I have the theme command for that. And welcome to the stream, Tatu. Plan to migrate to .NET 10? I don't know. Oh, you start working at my 2 a.m. I see. Well, they're always VODs. There's always changing your sleep schedule to be able to watch a stream in the background. All right, so I guess the best question is like, how do we implement poison immunity? So we could do it as a component. This is like how untargetable works. Or we could do it as an effect. I think a component makes the most sense. Yeah, we already have untargetable. So we could just make something like poison immune. Makes an entity immune to poison. The motivation behind this is that there's an enemy. I am adding the Shadow Rogue as an enemy, and it attacks so fast that when it hits zombies repeatedly, it looks stupid when it gets poisoned constantly. So this will just make it immune to poison. All right, so component ID, we need a poison immune component. And then we put this over here. Done. And then in the Enchantress summon, we should probably just make them all immune to poison. Yeah, let's just make them all immune to poison. All right, how do we do this? Shadow ECS.add component. Was that it? There's no argument that given that corresponds to the thing. Yeah, there we go. So now it's poison immune. Now we need to make poison immunity actually work. That's what we can change here. Imagine. Starting 2 a.m. I have to change my whole life. So for this to work, I think we need a function over here that is like public static void add poison debuff to entity. And I don't know how this is going to actually take place. So what do we need in here? We need target, source, duration, damage, and that's it. And now we have all that stuff. But then we don't add this if ECS.hasComponent poison immune, then just return. And that's it. Super easy. What am I missing? Oh, it wrote it out twice. And then we put this over here. We do poison debuff dot add poison debuff to entity. We should probably rename that. And then do all of that stuff the same, and we're done. Add, or like poison, maybe we should just call it poison entity. There you go, Deke. Left-hand side question mark conditional. Oh, nice. Really? Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like a good change. I should write this down in the backlog at least. Oh, and press the button. Thank you, Godik. Happy 57 months. Upgrade to .NET 10. I think you left the text in. I haven't finished writing the comment, if that's what you mean. Applies a poison debuff to the entity if they're not poison immune. What about this text? It's still, are you talking about something else? Did I miss something else? Wait, because you both mentioned text. I don't know if you were talking about that comment, but yeah, that I had not finished writing. But if there's something else, I will need to look through. Out of curiosity, why did you make that a component instead of like a flag or a stat in the creature you can check? So we have an entity component system for a lot of what we do here, and entities generally don't have any data about themselves. It's all left to components. This is at least a well-known design pattern here, which is pretty much like that. An entity is just a bundle of components, and then a component is some data, and then the systems are things that act on entities with certain components. So as an example, we have a health component, and all it keeps track of is a life and a max life. And then we have a battle system that is responsible for figuring out like, hey, how should health change based on all the attacks and stuff that are done. So this fits into that design pattern that we have, in that poison immunity would just be a component. But if you had your entities represented by like a battler entity, then yeah, you'd probably have some like is poison immune flag on there. And that would be fine. The reason why you want an entity component system in general is to compose many different behaviors across different kinds of entities. Floating text that you're trying to remove. Oh, whoops. Oop. I just knocked my keyboard out. I don't know what caused me to do that. Okay, there. I don't want to bend the pins. Doesn't check if it's successful. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Actually, the creating floating text should probably be there in the poison entity thing, which means we need to pass in the battle system. And then we take this down to here, and this gets imported. And whoop, I don't want that. I want it the other way around. And then this takes in the battle. Cool. Yeah, thank you both. I would have realized it as soon as I tested this. Hey, who cares? And hey, Cromlock. Strong subconscious karate skills. I'm a black belt in destroying keyboards. Twitch told me to. Thank you, PWS. Thanks for the bits. All right, so all we're going to see is that... Wait a second, what just happened there? I hit create instance and the rogue is nearly dead? I guess I saved with the rogue nearly dead. All right, so they're going to summon... Oh, this won't work. We need to keep doing this until we actually create one with the Witch Doctor. There we go. So now they're going to summon zombies. The zombies will have poisonous skin, and we'll never see the word poison show up, even though this thing should take damage. Yeah, I do not see any instances of poison over here. It'll be very obvious once we summon the rogue, which might never happen. Why are they only summoning golems? Oh, no. There we go. So there's a rogue. And yeah, they're attacking the zombie and they're not getting poisoned. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right, so I do have to test each individual thing. And we've tested, I think, 5 of them so far. So we've tested that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. So let's just do the cleric, and then just the paladin, and then just the... Oh, I guess I technically tested the witch doctor too. But let's look at their animations and stuff. So shadow cleric heals, and healing should cause damage to the enemies. No, it doesn't, because they don't have resonant healing. I should maybe make them do that. All right, but now we only see clerics. They should use their abilities. They should actually like... Yeah, and they only ever heal this. So we see some 3s show up over here. Yeah. What's kind of interesting is if they only summon clerics, you can actually see this thing isn't dying now. We're also not taking any damage, so I think this is just a stalemate. No, maybe not. It's hard to tell if that's going up or down. No, it's going up. Yeah, so this battle will never end. You'd have to flee. All right, well, that's a cleric. Next up is the paladin. The paladin doesn't do anything special. They just have a basic attack, which is not very paladin-y, but I don't really think it matters. I also kind of wonder what happens if you have just a bunch of witch doctors and they're all using haste. Oh, wait, what am I doing? I gotta look at the animations. Are you attacking? Oh, basic attack doesn't trigger the animation. Oh. Oh, I'm glad we tested this. So who has a basic attack? None of you. Just the paladin? Ugh. Well, we could just change basic attack to try using the attack animation. Does the bat have an attack animation? No, it doesn't. Okay, yeah, it should be fine to do that. It's going to call into a function that just doesn't do anything. Ability name? Is that what it is? Ability anim? I forgot what I called this. Ability 1 animation name. Okay, I was circling it. So basic attack just needs to do that same thing. Now this is going to be called for every single enemy in the entire game. So let's see how heavy this function is. It's going to get a component. That should be constant time. It's going to get this. That's constant time. It's going to check this, which I hope is constant time. But actually, we could just do this one first and check if it has the animation, which also I hope is constant time. This might be O of N based on how many animations there are. I guess the more important thing is it's a call into Godot native. But yeah. All right, so let's try that. So now the paladin should look like they're attacking. And then the final one is the witch doctor. And I wanted to see what happens if you only summon witch doctors. I guess they'd never do any damage and you'd never die. So we do need to control the order that these things get summoned in. I'd also like to change the power with which they use these abilities so that maybe the haste that they get is like even better. So now we should see an attack animation. Yeah, good. Oh, the word shield showed up. Huh. All right, so that's a bunch of paladins. Now we go check Enchantress. I should not type. Now we check the witch doctor. So the witch doctor only has one ability, and it's to make everyone else faster. And if there are 8 witch doctors, it means they'll all make each other faster. But I don't think... I mean, you could hit some like, this is going to make the game break because they're just attacking so quickly. Well, attacking. I'm going to speed this up a bit. So once there are a lot, yeah, they're just infinitely getting faster, I think. So we should just see the word haste show up faster and faster and faster until probably something goes wrong. Or maybe it's leveled out. Because the old buffs are disappearing. Yeah, it's not getting faster. But they're also not doing anything. Like, they have super haste, but none of them have attacks. So if we only summon, let's say, this and this, then they would attack super fast. A white hole? Okay, so now we'll have some rogues, and we'll also have some witch doctors. It's only making rogues. There's one witch doctor. I want it the other way around. I want it to be more witch doctors. I just want to see how fast the rogues end up attacking. What is it doing? Why is it only making rogues? Give me witch doctors. Okay, this is just a coin flip. But this coin flip hates me. Come on. I just wanted to start with like 3 witch doctors. Okay, fine. I'll just keep doing this until we at least get the first 2. Should be a 1/4 chance. And I've run this like a million times. Come on. Nope. There we go. Okay, we at least started with 2 witch doctors. I want to see what happens when we get more and more of those. Now we have 3, 4. We have 5? No, we got 4. Okay, well, whatever. So how fast are these attacking? Oh, super fast. Man, the archer dodges a lot. Oh, I should probably change that ability. I think they are overpowered. Yeah, I think they are overpowered. I also have 30% chance to dodge here from lightning reflexes, but this, every time you shoot an arrow, you attack 2% faster. Upon being hit, you lose this, but gain a 15% chance to dodge for 4 seconds. I gotta fix that. Steady shooting should only give you the dodge bonus if you had at least 6% power to lose. Maybe. Oh, we're gonna attack faster than the speed of light. I see. The hard difficulty challenge mode mixed with a manipulated enchantress boss fight could be a beautiful thing. I still think the boss fights will probably... Oh, this is not good. When the enchantress dies, it has to end the battle, and it doesn't. Okay, well, I'm glad we looked at that. When the enchantress dies, it has to end the battle. Okay, so what I think we want for this, and I'm not totally sure, I think I wanted to always summon the next one. So there is no way for you to get like 6 clerics in the battle. Because some of them would make for trivially easy battles. Maybe what we should do is... maybe I summon a random one that isn't already there. Would that be smart or dumb? Trying to think, like, it... Okay, so there are some combinations of things that would make the fight stupid. Like, if it randomly summoned a cleric and a witch doctor at first, they're not actually doing damage to you. So I think we should probably summon them in order. So yeah, so let's get how many allies you have. Battle.get allies. How does this work? Get all friendly living targets other than the one passed in. Yeah, so of the entity. So this is going to be int num allies equals this. And then the summon that we're going to do, enemy ID, shadow ID to summon equals shadow IDs. Yeah, that. Okay, and then we take that and we put this here and then do that. All right, so it should always now be the same order. Mage, archer, golem, warrior, rogue, etc. Let's go take a look at that. If 3 or more removed from the pool. I think we should just do it in order so that we know that this fight is going to be balanced kind of the same way every time. Maybe on repeat battles we could change that logic, but at least for the first battle. So it should have been, okay, it summoned 2 mages, which is not good. But then it summoned a golem. What is going on? Oh, I see what's going on now. Then it summoned a warrior, then it's going to summon a rogue. Yeah, it's going to summon a cleric. All right, so if I'm not mistaken, I think the problem is that we're summoning 2 at once here, and get allies isn't updating in between summons. Yep, I know why. Because we what's the explanation? We buffer adding entities to battle. Wait against duplicates, but not ruling them out. Yeah, I think this game is casual enough where just once we get this logic working, we'll just call it there. Because the other thing to keep in mind is that a player playing through story mode is only going to fight the Enchantress once. It's going to be like relatively early on. Oh, I did not think of something in particular, which is that if you're fighting this early on, it means you don't even know who these other adventurers are. Like, you've never seen the Golem, and you've never seen the Paladin, and you wouldn't have seen the Cleric. You would have seen the others, though? You definitely have seen the Rogue and the Mage. No, I'm missing one. The Archer. No, you would have seen the Archer, too. Yeah, it is kind of a trivial concern. I guess they don't really matter. Yeah. So I just got to figure out how we're going to work through this. So could we keep track of a number here? I think we can. Yeah. Where would we do this otherwise? Instead, no, that makes a buff. Holy Light. No, that also gives you a buff. Oh, man. I want to keep track of a number in here, but I don't think we can do that. Does any initialize do this? Nope. Oh, nope. No, they all control it through buffs. Except for this one. Oh, this is a buff. All right, that's too bad. Mapping in the player's pool means it could be manipulated to some degree. Yeah, you could fight this with only the 2 characters who are not represented by shadows, and then they wouldn't have any. Although you'd probably have a fallback case in that instance. Oh, man. All right. I got to still think of what's the fastest way to do this. Could we get the number of characters? No, we can't get the number of characters in battle. Could we get the number of characters that are going to be summoned? We could, but these could include friendly characters as well. We could just flush this system, right? Battlers just summoned. Summon by enemy ID. Process. Process does it. Add summon battlers. Add battler. Fade in. Run on ally came to life. So like in this one case, we could make like a force add summon battlers. We could also just, yeah, never mind. What am I doing? I have a much easier way of doing this, don't I? We could just pass in what it should summon. Yeah. All right, so we make a private void summon shadow. We take in these things. And then enemy ID force shadow ID equals none. Yeah, there, that'll do it. So when we force these, we force this to always summon a shadow mage and a shadow archer. And then we just move all this logic down here. All right, so now shadow ID to summon is going to be the force ID. And if force is equal to none, then figure it out. And it should not pick from the mage or the archer. And what does it say? Remove the unused private method. Oh, yeah. Summon shadow. And this turns into summon shadow. All right, so we need to force the shadow to be summoned since the battle system buffers summons until the next process call. If we didn't do this, it would summon the first shadow. It could summon 2 of the same shadow. All right, and then shadows have no way of dying. So now this should hopefully work. Oh, except for this clamp is going to be wrong, right? We need to subtract 2. Yeah, it's going to be wrong. There's no point in testing this. So the first one it summons is going to be another mage right here. Oh, it summoned a rogue. Oh, it's going to summon another rogue and then another rogue. No, it's not doing that either. Oh, because it skipped these 2. Yeah. So we just do num allies -2. Cool. Yeah, that'll work. And so a lot of effort has been put in this one fight. But I think it's looking pretty good. We need a way to end the fight, because that doesn't happen right now. So mage, archer, the next one is a golem. Yep, then the warrior should be here or here, yeah. Then the rogue. Then the cleric, paladin, and witch doctor. Cleric, paladin, and witch doctor should summon over here. And then the witch doctor will start giving them all haste. Takes a long time. And then I just got to tweak the damage numbers and everything, probably. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. I like this a lot. All right, I'm going to take my break. Is it jump time? It's jump time. What happened? The call should say what, Ryman? Also, hi, Ryman. Hey, Syrup. All right, close the game. You did off the platform? Yeah. The first of the bottom wins, right? Yep, golf rules. Okay, so we've done this. Give the shadow characters attack animations. We've done that. Consider whether we should have summons die at some point. You know what maybe should happen? Maybe after the Enchantress dies, the summons all go down to like 200 life or something. That'd be kind of interesting. That way they can still die at the end, and you'd see their death animations, and it would signal the end of the fight. I like that idea. Yeah, I'm just going to paste this over here. And then this one's done. Okay, so how do we do that? We need, excuse me, some way for these characters to know that the Enchantress died. There are two ways we can do this. We can either put a something on the Enchantress and then go through all summons and weaken them, or we could put something on the summons and detect when the Enchantress dies. I don't really care what it is, but I think we have some logic for this somewhere. Passive abilities have... Wait, no, battle system has something? Where do we have like ally took damage? Where is that? I don't know where that is. So let's go to Holy Link, because that has it. Oh, buffs have it. I see. Buffs have on ally about to take damage. So is there something here like ally just died? Ally died. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, well then that should be easy. They actually don't have immunity. They just have a ton of life. Or do they start to despawn in the order they spawn and you have to survive until they all despawn? That's pretty much what's going to happen, except for the order doesn't matter. Their life is lower to the point where you'll just kill them. Sorry, it's not really what's going to happen. But the surviving until they're dead is what's going to happen. That's the same way. Okay, so we need to give them a debuff. So what do we call this debuff? I guess like Shadow Curse? Yeah, that's probably pretty good. All right, so effect ID. We have Zombie Curse, right? Yeah, Zombie Curse debuff. We'll call this Shadow Curse debuff. Zombie Curse. I'll save this as Shadow Curse debuff. Place that and that. Reload the whole thing. Oh, is that the 1E7F? Yeah. Yeah, they intentionally have 10 million life so that they won't die first. Although if they did die, it wouldn't be the end of the world because they just get resummoned. But then they get resummoned. It would always resummon a whatever the last one in the list is, which is not what I want. But I don't want to have to think about that stuff right now anyway, because I don't think it should ever happen. All right, so proc interval. This doesn't need a proc interval at all. What if I don't? Oh, it's an effect with proc interval. Okay, so I just make it an effect. And it has no proc interval and does persist through death. Is not a thing because these characters don't revive. So this is thoroughly weakens the entity with this when its summoner dies. This is meant for the Enchantress battle, so the battle actually ends. I curse myself by saying this should never happen. It really shouldn't. All right, so this is going to be on ally died. Is that what this is? Is it just called ally died? Oh, come on. What did I call this? Ally died, but it's got dying ally. Okay, got it. All right, so we go to Shadow Curse. It's time to level up the party to 300 plus. No, but it should be impossible because all of them have 10 million life and 15% of the damage they take goes to the Enchantress. So as long as the Enchantress has less than, what is it? No, it's impossible. No, it's okay. It's technically not impossible. But it's like the set of conditions is nuts because it's not less than 15% of 80 million life. Because actually the Enchantress, when one of them dies, will resummon that thing, but only once every 4 seconds. So you need enough, you need to, it's basically impossible. It doesn't matter. And if someone does this, it's not going to break the game. It'll just be stupid. So yeah, I don't care about this. Okay, so if dying ally, we need to get the summoner. ECS dot get component is summoned component affected entity dot summoner. If dying ally is equal to the summoner, then we set our current life. We'll have it just deal damage to this thing. So affected entity, damage is going to be your current life minus a whole bunch. So float damage equals, I want your target health to be 200 or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's a percentage of, okay, let's change this a little bit. Summoner HC. Yeah, that's fine. So I want your target health to be the summoner's max health times maybe like 5%. So the damage you take is going to be your current health subtracted from this. And we set that this is math dot max of 0. So this can't cause you to heal, which should be impossible anyway. I don't feel like I need to keep saying that. And then if damage is greater than 0, I don't even think we need to write that there. That multi-target. No, this is single target damage. Yeah, there we go. Percent damage per tick isn't needed. Now we just add this. He said it again. To find the breakpoint between the rogue doing just under the amount of link damage compared to the cleric's heal. Find some way to keep the rogue alive. Look, there is a way for this to be possible for you to kill the summons. The summons always have 10 million life. But if you repeat elite battles, the elites get, I think, like 1.5 to the X, where X equals repetitions, stats. So if they start with, let's just make up a number, 50,000 life, 1.5 to the 10th, for example, would be multiplying by 57. That's not nearly enough. To the 100th is too much. Okay, I don't actually remember how this works, but yeah, there's some way you can get this to happen. All right, degenerates, 2 billion life. Yeah. Okay, so now what do I need to do? Go back to the Enchantress summon and give them this debuff. So it's going to be like, come on, close the tab. Summon zombie, giving them the curse. Yeah, this. And then add effect and get the effects component. And we don't have the effects component right now? No, we don't. Okay, but we're going to do that. We're going to get a shadow curse debuff. Curse equals new shadow. We don't need that. And then we add the curse. All right, let's try that out. This should work. So when the Enchantress dies, all of the summons should go down to 5% of her health, which is 25, I think. So they'll all have 25 health, which should make them die. Let's just start an instance and see what happens. I don't know, I'll just speed this up a lot. I don't know who's going to win this battle. But it doesn't look like Team Heroes are going to win. No, they're going to die. Oh, man, they're like just barely going to die, too. Oh, come on. Yeah, what a shame. All right, well, let's just level up some characters then. Who do we have in our party? I guess we can put in whoever we want. Yeah, let's put in some healers. You, and let's give you some abilities. This, and this, and this, and this. Yeah, perfect. All right, now we're gonna win. Right, so now we're not really taking any damage. Yeah. All right, so we just gotta wait. And now we stop. Okay, so as soon as this dies, all of them should have their life bar go down to next to nothing. That did not work. What happened? No, what happened? I guess we need a breakpoint here. Huh, yeah. All right, let's try that again. It broke in. This should be true. It is true. So now we go into here. So they're not taking damage for some reason. Target health is what? 25. That's what I said. And then damage is equal to... Oh, this is negative. Oh. Whoops. Yeah, whoops. Is damage supposed to be positive? I guess so. So we need to do this the other way, right? This minus target health. Let me just make sure this makes sense. So let's say you have 1,000,000 life and you want to be at 25. This is going to be close to 1,000,000. Yeah. So we just don't want this to be negative. So if you're at 10 life, this would be negative 15 and would do nothing. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So let's save this party that we have so that I don't have to set this up again. Save. Quit. Why the first two parameters the same? There's a source entity and a target entity. We're basically saying that this entity is hurting itself. So it's dealing damage to itself here. Because there's no other source that really makes sense for this. The ally that caused this to happen is already dead. But this never shows to the player anyway. But it might matter for stats in the future. Okay, so we create an instance. Oh, no, we can't just create an instance. We need to pick that same party we had. Cleric. I don't know who they were. It doesn't really matter. Just pick somebody. As long as they don't die. That's all that matters. I think we had the archer instead. All right. So we're waiting for this to happen. There we go. Right around there. Okay. So let's see. Oh, yeah. And then they just evaporate after that. I don't want them to die so fast. I want them to... Did you still see their death animation? So maybe give them 25% life. So they'll have 5 times the amount of life they just did have, which is 125 life. But yeah, I don't want them to just like... Yeah, totally disappear. Using cheats to break the game. Cringe. Super cringe. So cringe. All right, so this should be a little bit slower. So this way you actually get to see their death animations play out. All right, so now we slow it down to regular speed, and we watch. No, they're still dying like super fast. Maybe they should just get the full amount of life that the summoner had. Also, I'm beginning to think that this is maybe not the smartest thing. Yeah. 9.9 million damage. Yeah, I don't think it should be such high numbers. Summoner, HC. Hey, Zara. So we're going to do max life times maybe like 10. Yeah, maybe 10. This would still be a problem, wouldn't it? Because it means that if you target the thing with the lowest life, which the rogue is going to do, that you actually will kill one of these. Okay, hang on. We had it set to 10 million before this. What's this divided by 100? 20,000. So we could set this to 1,000. And that way the number is 1/20th of what it used to be. So I can't make them immune to damage because the way that this fight works is the Enchantress absorbs 15% of damage dealt to allies. And the whole reason we do this is so that you are encouraged to do AoE damage in this fight. So if you can hit all the enemies at once, you're basically increasing the amount of damage you're really doing to the Enchantress. We could just have them heal the full every turn, I guess. That would also potentially work. It just had to be like a silent thing. What's the issue with having them be killable? The only issue is just that this summoning order is based on how many you already have. So once we hit the maximum amount of summons, it'll just keep summoning the Witch Doctor again after that. Which I guess we should just work around that by making them summon rogues at the end. At least that way they'll do damage. Yeah. All right, so let's try this out. I don't remember if I started this already or not. Let's do it again. So in the best case scenario, we just spent like 3 hours making this boss fight. In the best case scenario, people need a few attempts to beat this so they realize how this gimmick works. Because if they just start the fight and then they win the very first time, this is going to be very anticlimactic. All right, I think the warrior should be good in this fight. They should counterattack against all the enemies. Should speed this up. Oops, nope, oh, almost missed that. Okay, yeah. So now they'll take a ton of damage all at once. And yeah, now they're more slowly dying. Okay, this is much slower. And there's no way to tell how much damage they actually have left until they die because their life bars are already so low. I think they had 500 life though, so one of them should be dying pretty soon. Doesn't look good. Why are none dead yet? Oh, one died. Okay. Yeah, it's a little too long. Hey Tim, how you doing? You were streaming for a long time yesterday. All right, so Shadow Curse. We're setting this to just the summoner's max life. Why? A quarter of it was too little, and 100% is too much. So maybe half is just right. But I still don't really like the... Oh, you know what we should do? We should just set their max life to... We should change their max life. Can we do that? hc.maxlife equals hc.life. Okay, if we do this, then this would work just fine. And then we just don't have it actually look like it's dealt damage. Yesterday was a messy day, but I got through it, solved the problems. Nice, so the build stuff's all working? Can't you have them take 99% reduced damage and have a reasonable health amount? Well, I'm thinking we'll just fudge the numbers now. So we'll just say that they took 9999 damage. This is going to be really stupid what I'm about to do. All right, so I set their life to like 20,000. Yeah, this is really, really dumb. I want to see if this works though. And then we say damage is 9999. I should probably save what I'm doing before I do any of this. There. Okay. So now do that, show the damage, and then set the max life and the life to 200. Or I guess this thing, target health. And yeah, set life to that amount as well. Okay, that might look a little bit better. After pulling repos on each machine, I run one script on each machine and the game goes to Steam. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah, I don't like having to touch any of my build scripts ever for any project. I just want them to work. All right, so here we go. So they're going to look like they take damage. I'm going to try to take a picture when they do. They're going to take 9999 each of them. Yeah, and then their life bars actually reflect how much life they have. Okay, I like that a lot. Now the question is, does 9999 look like they took a lot of damage? Maybe it should just say something like immunity break or something. It should just be some text above them. Yeah, vulnerable. Yeah, because we don't need it. We don't need them to take damage at all. So let's go look at Blessing of Haste. This has the word haste show up. So we can just do this for Shadow Curse debuff. And yeah, say vulnerable. This is probably maybe just weak. Yeah, weak is probably better. Because Vulnerable is too long of a word. All right, now what is it called? Battle system. Target is going to be affected entity. Translate weak. We need to go using static translation server. Colors dot red and sticky. And then don't do any damage. Don't do this. Nice. HP should set to 50%. Yeah, that could work too. Yeah, in fact, that would probably look even better, right? So we set this to this divided by 2. We want that, or maybe not even, maybe just show them at like, no, I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to do this. Don't change the HP unless you're showing it. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, he's feeling vulnerable to being too long. Only in English. Well, not only in English, probably some other languages too. Okay, let's get our party together again. All right, this time we should have everything set up. Okay, so the enchantress is going to die. It should say weak above all of these, and then they should start taking damage. Yeah. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I like that. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, that was like 3 hours of work. We're not totally done yet either. So this is done, this is done, this is done. And now the other thing we need to do is this. If I used all of the Enchantress shadow summons and delete the sprite sheet. Yeah, I did use them all. There, so this should just go away. A single blue potion. What a reward. Okay, so now I gotta turn on sounds and listen to this battle. It's gonna be a cacophony. Okay, let's turn this off. It's working, yeah. Current version of method, copy to another document, I wonder? You don't use timeline in VS Code? I'm not totally sure what you're asking. The timeline feature, at least as I know it, is like the history of a given file. Oh, you meant what I did with this thing that I did? Just copy and pasting it into another buffer? Yeah, I don't tend to use the history feature. That's more of an emergency sort of thing. And in this case, what I could have done is saved this or something. But yeah, I thought if I want to go back to this, which I don't, so I can just delete it now. What single game would you say every game dev must play, and why should they pay attention to it? What does it teach them? Man, my gut answer here is no game. As in, like, you can learn from any game that you play. But I guess if I had to pick one, it'd probably be one that has a surprising lesson to learn. Something that's not super obvious. And probably it would be Infiniminer. Yeah. I haven't even played Infiniminer, but Infiniminer was essentially the foundation for Minecraft. And Infiniminer, I'm going to guess, made something like, let's say, 50,000 or less. Again, I have no idea. And Minecraft, I'm not going to guess, made more than $2.5 billion. So this is probably the biggest possible shift you could go from a game that was not super successful to almost kind of the same mechanics and not quite, to a game that is hyper successful. And I feel like the game design lesson here is Well, it's kind of hard to say. I think the real lesson is like find the fun in your game. But I don't know how you would have learned this lesson from Infiniminer if you were the creator of it. Because it represents a totally different game. By the way, for those who haven't seen Infiniminer, it's worth at least pulling this up. It was like Minecraft plus some other stuff. So it looks very much like Minecraft. And yet it was the other stuff that people were like, oh, let's just get rid of the other stuff. Hey, Peter. Making a game about fish that shoot each other. I made a game about sheep that shoot TNT at each other. It also looks so dull, like I'm a real miner, colors-wise. I mean, yeah. Yeah, so anyway, that's what I'd probably say. But I honestly think this is like every game out there has a lesson in something, and the something might not be obvious. It might be in like game mechanics, it might be in storytelling, it might be in graphics, it might be what not to do in any of the above cases. Like Botland itself, I feel like I had a bunch of lessons from this, and I've talked about them a lot over the years too. But I think the biggest lesson I learned from this was like prove your product. Make sure there's market fit for your product. And I think the way you prove your product is just doing playtesting often and make sure people are honest or that you have a way of extracting like semi-unbiased feedback. I think that's the biggest thing I learned. Because if you're working on a project for fun, then I've said this a million times, you don't need to make money. You don't need a bunch of people to see that project. You don't need it to be perfect code. You just need to have fun as you're making the project. And then congrats, you've accomplished your goal. But if you're making a project for a business, you need to make money. You need to have people need to like it or buy it. Or else the business part failed. Like your metric for success is that the business is successful. And what you might consider success to be could change. But again, if it's for business, then it's like it needs to make money or it needs to indirectly make money for some other product or something like that. And at that point, it's like, okay, that's where product market fit starts mattering. That's where like not wasting time can matter depending on your resources. Also trying to find games that I should be playing, and I might put Infiniminer on the list. I'm guessing you played Minecraft. It would be interesting to hear what you think about Infiniminer. Because like I said, I've never played it. But I wonder if you could see like, yeah, this is the foundation for Minecraft, or here's what they had to change to get this to work. I feel it'd be hard to learn things as a player of a game specifically for game dev. Usually you can get inspiration, but you'll generally not know how hard it was to code that mechanic or make that art. Okay, so there's a YouTube set of videos out there. I think it's a channel that someone made that's like lessons in game dev or something. That's probably not the title of it. But what they do is they cover examples in games with like clever but non-obvious mechanics. And they had an example of a first-person shooter. I don't fully remember the game and I don't fully remember the example, but it was something like new players were struggling with a particular gun and like expert players were too good with that gun. And I don't remember, it was something about like reloading, but they came up with some mechanic where it was like, oh, the last couple of shells within this gun would like crit the enemy or something. And it solved all of their problems that they had. Again, I don't fully remember this. But as a player, you can still witness that and be like, oh, that is pretty smart. And I think even as a player of like a lot of the Super Mario games that come out now, they'll typically have a level and then they'll have some like hard objectives, hard but optional objectives within the level. And this is a way of also satisfying the whole like player skill disparity. If you're a new player to this game, you'll play the level and you'll just beat it. But if you're like, oh, this is too easy, then you'll seek out these harder objectives. And it's a nice way of providing for sort of all of your player skill levels that you have. And anyway, I guess my point was just that I think you can see this stuff play out and realize how it's helpful. I've been playing, probably shouldn't talk about this, but I've been playing WoW on a non-official server lately, and they added some quality of life stuff that has been very interesting. So normally in the game, or at least the version of the game that I played, items are bound to a character. But in this particular version, it's like an item you buy can be used on any character. And as a game designer, I'm like, wow, this makes a lot of sense for how they did this with the constraints that they have in particular. So I think you can still learn as you look through other games. But I do think what you won't know is what led to that. So it's the usual tip of the iceberg kind of thing. You have the water level here and you see a little bit and you don't know what led to producing that mechanic or that game. And for Skeleseller, I mean, anyone who's been watching this for long enough has kind of seen the things that we tried that did not work out. At one point, the enchanter in the game, you would drag items here and it would disenchant them and turn them into buffs in battle. It's like that mechanic was really bad. And the idea was interesting, and it's really hard to tell on paper if things will actually work out. And I think that's, again, why that biggest lesson from Botland is just playtest stuff. And part of the reason, at least, is that things can sound fun or unfun on paper and then be totally the opposite in practice. And it's just so hard to predict this. Thanks, Krasner. I think Masahiro Sakurai's video, our channel, covers anything you would learn from playing games in terms of game mechanics. Yeah, that series is really, really good. Sakurai game design. This, if anyone hasn't seen this, absolutely fantastic. I think my favorite one is Just Do It. I haven't watched all of them, but I'll link this one in particular. It's a very quick video, 2 minutes long. And you can probably guess what the message is. Last bullet, 2 more damage. Yeah, it was in Game Maker Toolkit, yeah. Because pros reload often. Yeah, it's a really, really cool idea. It's like a clever, well, why didn't I think of that? And then from then on, probably any game can use that or do that. And it's just like, oh yeah, now this is a standard. Okay, so have I finished coding all this stuff? I think I did. Yeah. I'm not super happy with the actual summon abilities. Like getting a Witch Doctor that just makes all the other ones move faster is not super interesting. Also, the Witch Doctor doesn't do that normally. Yeah, the Witch Doctor kind of has no reason for existing as a shadow summon, huh? I wonder if they should just bite the enemy. Yeah, that might make more sense. Although the Witch Doctor doesn't bite things themselves anyway. But we could just add, what is it, Zombie Bite, I think? What does this do? Find target with most life? Interesting. Does this even work? Oh, this might not work. Because we got to find targets that have taunt. This kind of in-depth analysis is not really a normal perspective for a single player, though. Like your example of FPS Gun, where good players were great and new players were struggling. You only have your own perspective and interpretation of that system. GMTK is a bit unique in that he goes out and interviews devs and players typically. I think the game has to make it clear that it's happening in some of those cases. So I understand what you're saying. I still think there's some value you can extract by looking at other games. But yeah, you're correct in that, let's say you are the player who is struggling, or sorry, let's say you're a very skilled player. There's a mechanic in one of the Mario games where if you die like 5 times in a row, it gives you a star when you revive. You would never see this mechanic, so you wouldn't know that this exists. So yeah, I agree with that sort of thing. But you'll still see what the game dev did to accommodate your play style. All right, so how does this work? Get enemy targets. Get targets. Oh, this returns just the one with taunt. Okay, I think this will work. I think this will work just fine. I'm not even going to try it. Or I'm not going to like closely try it. But I want to see if Bite now works with the Witch Doctor. Everyone else had... Oh, wait. Why is basic attack there? Oh, wait. We gave it an animation. That's fine. All right, so we want to see the Witch Doctor. We should just see a bite graphic on... Where's the Witch Doctor? Oh, they're the next one? Yeah, we should see a bite graphic on one of these now. There it is. Perfect. Perfect. All right, cool. And it's always going to bite the one with the most health. Watching someone play the game is so good at showing you things you haven't considered at all. Oh, yeah, definitely. Watching people play games. And something I always take some sort of like sick joy in watching is seeing players struggle at like AAA games. And I guess part of it is just thinking like, this game was successful. You already know that. You have hindsight in that case. But this player still can't figure out what to do. I don't know. It's like oh, okay, if even the best games, or the ones with the most money, I should say, not necessarily best, if even the ones with the most money behind them still had a problem with players not knowing what to do, maybe it's just an issue everyone has to struggle with. The question comes down to, can you gather that info just by playing a game? The original question. In some cases, yes, but I doubt it in most cases personally. Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I don't think you'll probably try a whole bunch of different ways of playing a game unless your goal is to research it. Sounds like every modern Pokemon game. I haven't seen people play that, but I've seen people play like Breath of the Wild, which again, I think is a pretty good game. And whether or not you think it's a good game, it's like, what are the confusing parts of the game? And I mean, there are some puzzles, so like those are sort of intentionally confusing, at least at first. But mechanics in any game should not be confusing. And some of the mechanic, like I've seen people struggle in certain places where there is no puzzle. It's literally just like a can you do what the screen is telling you to do right now? And yeah, sometimes I'm like, yep, you just gotta hold people's hands and get them through this task. The one puzzle that relies on 2 shrines. Yeah, so those I'm not, I don't, there's no joy in watching someone struggle at that necessarily, unless they overcome it. Remember my whole family being stumped on Spyro 2 for a week? Yeah, modern games require less of the player than older games did, and not just because of technical restrictions. I still think a lot about Super Metroid, and I have seen what I would call like modern gamers play that game, and they get stuck on things. Some parts are too difficult. They don't know where to go. Any number of things happen, and it's not necessarily their fault, but like modern games wouldn't let you do this. Modern games at some point would be like, here's where you have to go, or here's a hint, or here's a power up so that you can get past this more easily. But I think that's because modern games also need to compete with so many other games now. If you were in a world where there was like 2 new video games per year, those video games could do whatever they want because they know there's either not a huge audience or they're all just going to buy this game anyway. All right, so I think we're going to check this in, but not all of it. Like, this is currently taking place in the forest. So I should probably just pull this out of here. Add the new bosses to their appropriate locations and balance them based on the level we expect you to have. So we just get rid of this. All right. So I'm not going to review imports or anything, right? We added in all the characters. I think that's fine. Shadow Fireball exists. So let's just click the plus button on these. What happened? Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, let's try that again. Click this plus button. And now we can look at the diffs of the actual files I wanted to look at. I think if we run through here, we'll get any UID files we added. Because we only have one right now, and I think I added Poison Immune as well. And we got to cut that out. It's automatically loading the game. Although I do want that logic for the future. Take care, Tim. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you have a good one. Yeah, so this is what I want. Code for testing. And I'll just write call from ready. And this is in title screen. Cool. So now we can get rid of this. Or just not check this in. Yeah, we just don't have to check this in. All right, so basic attack now has an animation. Great. Enchantress summon. Oh, what happened to the... Poison immune doesn't have a UID file. Oh, that's strange. Well, let's run that tool. So anything special or wrong or different about this that I need to look at? We need to force the shadows to be summoned. Summon shadow, looks good. Set some stats and stuff. Yeah, looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So let's revert these two things. Check that in and that in. Fireball just has this. I should probably write that this is for the Enchantress summon. The Shadow Fireball is for the Enchantress, for the Shadow Mage, which is an Enchantress summon. I should probably write this for all the ones that I do. Yeah. The Darkened Arrow is for the Shadow Archer. Yep, cool. And then the Darkened Rock is for the Shadow Golem. There. All right, ability ID, we added an Enchantress summon. Sounds good. Poisonous Skin now tries to poison and it respects immunity. That code is all here for immunity. Sounds good. Shadow Curse debuff thoroughly weakens the entity with this debuff. When its summoner dies, this is meant for the Enchantress battle, so the battle actually ends. All right, so I tried several different ways of... I don't need to write this down. Today's been fun so far. This has been fun coding. I can't always say that. Like yesterday, I worked on some of the localization stuff, and I pulled out, I think I had 116 instances of localized messages, and now I have 69 instances of it. So I pulled out a lot of these, and I still have more to do. That was not fun coding. That was like, turn your brain off, try not to grumble about it. All right, so Shadow Curse debuff, that's fine. Scene Path has Shadow Fireball, also fine. What is this? This is all the new enemy data. Yep, cool. Enemy ID, we added in all the shadows. Yep. I hate those days. I'm going to have a lot of those days ahead of me. Because every single string in the code base needs to be pulled out to this weblate thing. Yeah. I don't have all the languages here, but if you look at untranslated strings, it's like we have, is there a way to tell how many? We have 442 of these. We need to go through every single string in the code base though. So we'll probably have like 1,000 strings we got to translate. That'll be nuts. All right, so this looks good. Don't try using animation we don't have. Poison immune looks good. Yeah, I don't think anything was very controversial about any of the stuff that I had here. This is just what, adding in some lines. But then this is going to be, nope, that's fine. This technically didn't change at all. We can check that in separately. All right, so add Enchantress boss. It has 8 different shadow summons and some special mechanics. And I guess a special mechanic when they die, where they become much more vulnerable. I don't have an I-18N thing, but I can explain whatever it is you want to know. Yeah. So the short story is we have tooling to pull the strings into translation files, and then we're using Weblate to like run the community translations. But I haven't finished all this stuff yet. Yeah, translate is there. I should probably add Weblate. Do I have a command for that? No, I don't. All right, let's get it from here. WebLate. WebLate is a self-hostable localization tool, most commonly used for crowdsourcing the translation of strings. Adam is using it for Skeleseller C Translate. At least I think it's Translate. What in translation? I still think that was a hilarious stream title. I know nobody cares about this stuff. Okay, so commit that. And then we'll commit this. This is just like these add new lines. I don't know. These are, I didn't even add them. I deleted them, didn't I? Run auto formatting. This just got formatted on save. Eventually the to-do items won't be there any longer. All right, what is the time? Guessing about 11:30? Yeah, about 11:30. Okay, well, the Enchantress is done. I'll put this down to the bottom. So next up would be the slime. What was the slime's gimmick? Where's the slime? Can only take 1 damage at a time, so it's about the number of attacks and hits. Maybe it has some slime friends that it summons occasionally. Maybe these get summoned when the boss takes enough damage. Oh, that'd be kind of interesting. I don't think this one's going to be very hard to code. Because it just has the one gimmick and that's it. How would we code it though? Let's take a look. I think there's like on about to take damage. There's on ally about to take damage. There is no... Yeah, I need to make a new thing for this, I think. Run on ally about to take damage. So we don't ever do this in the case of... No, we don't ever do this. Huh. Okay, so if we wanted to, we could implement this by making an invisible ally that can't be targeted. This would be really stupid. That when an ally is about to take damage, it lowers it down to 1. But the proper way to do this would be to just add an on about to take damage event. In fact, I wonder if we could just do this now. Yeah, let's do this. Run on about to take damage. Spawn 2 of itself with a little bit less max HP. I think that is pretty common for how slimes work. In this game, we've only got the one boss graphic for the slime. And splitting this in 2, we'd probably need unique graphics for that. So I'm just going to have it take very little damage. The garbage slime drops in and just vomits everyone up until that point. This is like the mother brain battle in Super Metroid. The garbage slime just spits sword after sword after sword out and slays the enemy. All right, so this is run on about to take damage. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Yeah, I don't like this at all. I wonder if we should just special case this one scenario where this happens. I like not having a special case for this though. But I guess the easiest way we could do this would be something like if instant, do we have the instant ID? If instance.id is equal to wherever this thing happens, like let's say it's in the canyon. And that way we don't have an expensive check, because otherwise we're iterating over every single effect every single time someone takes damage, calling a function on it, finding out that that function is a no-op. It's just not a good idea. And only one character in the entire game is going to have this. At least I think so. Is there another way we could code this? No, not really, right? Yeah, not really. Can we tell what enemy ID somebody is? How do we do that? Add enemy. Summon by enemy ID here. Create battler by enemy ID. Does this store the enemy ID somewhere? Probably not. No, it doesn't. So we can't tell that they are a particular enemy. We could check their abilities. We could also check their effects. Or even a component, I guess. Yeah, if it has a component that says it can only take 1 damage at a time. How would we do that? Untargetable. Untargetable is only on summons? No, it's also on buffs. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking we do to code this. Got to figure out how to make it take only 1 damage without making a heavy-handed system. I think we should have a component on the entity, which means giving the slime a buff makes it only take 1 at a time. Should that be in the battle system? Well, the battle system is what does damage. So here's what I'm thinking. Here's how we can make this as simple as possible. We can get rid of this that I had here, because this I think would be too heavyweight. Run on about to take damage. And then here what we could say is if the target, there's going to be some like only takes 1 damage component or something like that. If the target has this, then we just say modified damage equal info equals that. Hey, Zeeks. Or Zix. Yeah, so this is what I think I'm going to do. And that way, it's just a constant time check. And yeah. And sure, there's only going to be 1 thing that has this in the game. But if 2 things ever have it, then we can genericize this. So now we'd go make this. Component ID. Only takes 1 damage component. Poison, immune component. We go save this. Only takes 1 damage component. Makes an entity only take 1 damage per attack. This is intended for the slime boss. We should probably go add in that enemy ID too. Let's put like slime elite. Yeah. All enemy data. Now we go add in that. Boop. 100% damage reduction wrapped in a min 1. That was another thing that I thought about for that. So let's make this look like a... Yeah, let's make it look like the Enchantress for now. And we'll give it the slime boss. Oh, wait, no, we can't do this. What am I doing? It's got to be an ability that grants a buff. Yeah. I guess it would have been nice if I could have had just effects in this list somewhere. Yeah. Maybe we call this like slime armor. I don't know. Let's not think about this too much yet. Then we go make an ability ID, slime armor. And this is going to be sort of like counterattack in that it's a passive that grants a buff. Oh, it doesn't even need to... Isn't there just like an initialize somewhere? I guess it's not even a buff. It's just a component. So this could just be passive ability, right? And then we get rid of this and we maybe have an initialize in battle. I don't know if that's the case, but I kind of doubt it. There is an initialize. Wow. Called the beginning of the instance, not for individual stages, not be invoked for summons because they technically aren't added to the battle after a frame. Yeah. All right. So slime armor. We go change this. Override this and add ECS, add component, only takes 1 damage, new. Then delete this. Rename this to slime armor, I guess. Doesn't have an ID. It doesn't have any of these things. And then doesn't need any of that. Okay, so we have slime armor. We have that. We have pretty much the whole thing done, right? So now we just have to go to all instance data and change the forest. So that instead of having forest bats, it has the slime boss. And the slime boss is going to look like the enchantress, because I didn't put the graphic in yet. And it should only ever take 1 damage from anything. In fact, it takes 1 damage even if it should have taken 0 damage. I should probably have it take at most 1 damage. Like, it doesn't really matter too much. All right, so now we start a battle, and it should look like the enchantress, but only take 1 damage at a time. Nice. Yeah, so that's basically how we'll code that, because that's how we did code that. Now we don't have to do anything. What was I going to do now? Oh, yeah, go add in the graphic. Where's the graphic? Here. So export you to slime boss. Should probably call it elite, right? Nah, I think slime boss is fine. No one sees these names anyway. So now we go to all enemy data and throw in the slime boss. Now it should look like a slime. Oh, what is that doing? No, that's fine. Yeah. And there. It doesn't exist because I forgot to do that. Yeah. Although I think, can we just go back into that and have it work? Yes, we can. And it's facing the wrong way. Why is it facing the wrong way? He doesn't want to fight us? They all face to the right. So what, the slime boss faces to the left? Yeah. Oh, didn't I write a tool for this? I think I wrote a tool to rotate or something. Rotate enemies. Tools slash sprite sheet order changer. Yeah, how does this work? See sprite sheet ordering for more information. Sprite sheet ordering. Index takes a sprite sheet and swaps the order of sprites in the second row. So this is needed because we had 37 sprite sheets that had the death animations playing out backwards. Okay. But I need to swap the first row as well. This is probably going to break, but I'll try it anyway. So tools, sprite sheet ordering, and just do node index. And then we got to pass in the path to the slime. Input path, output path. Okay, let's call this like test. Did it work? So the bottom row got changed. Wait a second. What am I doing? I just need to reverse the whole image. This is not hard. There's a thing here. H flip. Where's H flip? I can never find this. Flip. I didn't do anything. What? Oh, there we go. Yeah, and I think we're done now. So overwrite. Oh, that was a test file. I didn't mean to do that. So let's try that again. Wait, hold on a second. How did this happen? How did I get rid of slime boss? Did I accidentally delete the... Oh, I deleted the wrong thing. Wait, no, I can't just flip it. Now I can flip it. Okay, I'm super confused. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah, this is correct. I think I needed to flip it in the code and then flip it again in GIMP. All right, so let me back up. Here's what we need. We need them facing right, and we need the dying animation to go downward. So if we were to H flip this whole thing, we'd have it reviving in its death animation. So yeah, we need to flip individual sprites and then flip the whole sprite sheet. So I did need to do what I did. But now we're actually in good shape here, so I can just replace this with Slime Boss. And now everything should look fine. I think we might need to restart the game. I'm not actually sure how that works. Yeah, we need to restart the game. Wow, it's a good thing I still have this tool here. And it's a good thing it just works. Isn't that wonderful? Wait, it's still facing the wrong way. Oh, I didn't do that. I see. No, wait, it's still facing the wrong way. What's going on? Let's load up the slime thing. Slime boss. What am I missing? What am I missing? Did I just need to click Godot and then restart? I don't think that's how that's supposed to work. Oh, that is how it's supposed to work. Okay, so this is going to take forever. But it doesn't have an attack, so it's guaranteed to die. And I just want to see if the death animation looks correct. Oh my god, this is so slow. Alright. Death animation. Nice. Cool. Yeah, that looked great. Alright, that's basically the slime boss. We might want to make it summon something. I mean, we need to make it attack. Have to add an attack, or else the fight is terrible. We could do something. It's probably got to have a pretty heavy attack, right? Or what I'm wondering about is like, yeah, what if every... I'll just write some ideas down. We summon as a boss, takes enough damage. Maybe every time it takes 5 damage, it summons a slime with... I don't know how much health. Yeah, it summons a slime with a small amount of health. Is that interesting, though? Like, what's the point of this? Is it to make the boss do more damage? Is it to make the boss take less damage? Is it to heal the boss? Because it can't just be to absorb health. It's already absorbing health on its own. So every time it takes 5 damage, if it's going to just spawn another slime, we might as well just give it more life. Could it split on death? I don't want to have it split. We could. I don't think there's much of a need. Like, every battle has a gimmick, and this gimmick is, of course, that the strongest attack in the game does 1 damage, and the weakest attack in the game does 1 damage. So it's like, okay, how do you overcome this gimmick? And it's just do a bunch of attacks. So it's not like it's a hard puzzle or anything. But, yeah, how is a slime going to attack you back? And what order is this in? It's the next one. I think having summons at all is not great. I don't know. Spawns a new slime. It could be that the slimes just do damage. It's just going to feel a whole lot like the Enchantress battle. And I think the order of this is such that, yeah, you fight the Enchantress and then the slime. Time-based or you're absorbed. Man, so the only reason I'm sort of against that idea is because the Yeti is kind of that idea. The Yeti has an ability that's going to insta-kill a target, and it attacks very slowly. So basically, after 4 attacks, you lose. And that's essentially the timer. And since that exists in a different battle, I don't want it on the slime battle. So it's really just how is this thing going to do damage? And if it's going to be too similar to the Enchantress to have summons like that, It could be maybe like every 25% life, it summons 4 slimes. Or every 25% damage it takes, it summons 4 slimes. And then these slimes, I don't know, maybe like hit really hard, but don't have a lot of life. Oh, you gotta go, PWS? Well, I hope you win against those slimes. I hope they drop a lot of potions for you. And the potions taste great. And that they don't have detrimental effects. Slime Elite. So this thing's got to do a lot of damage. If the dragon did 25 and the enchantress does like 40, this would need to at least be like 70 or something. Oh, I see. Oh, I thought it was just a cutesy signing off message. Oh, wait, what am I doing? I just gave it attack power, but I didn't give it an attack. No, 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 no. Back up. Get out of here. New basic attack. Attack. Man, this is totally unrelated to what I'm coding right now, but our bathroom sink is very slow to drain now. And it's one of my least favorite chores is to fix that. It's disgusting. But I gotta do it at some point, and it's on my mind. All right, what am I doing right now? I am doing this, and the slime should do like 70 damage now. Yeah, nice. So it just murders that. Which gets revived. The warrior's got a little bit of fortitude, so it's not taking the full 70. Yeah, I think without attacking quickly, it's just too easy to eventually beat the boss. I hate snaking drains. I don't think I need to snake it exactly. And actually, I got a tip from someone else, which is like you can press a paper towel down with like a skewer or something, and it should just clear everything out. I've never tried that before. I'm going to probably try that this time. Yeah, that chore is not fun. I'll take like vacuuming over that any day. I guess you can roughly categorize the disgustingness of a household chore. And like dusting, not bad. Like, yeah, vacuuming, not bad. Ironing, no disgust. But like doing the dishes, tiny amount. Depends on what you're cleaning off the dishes. Yeah, so at this point, you're always going to have 4 adventurers. We could cut down how many adventures you have. In fact, this could be one of the 2 adventurer fights. We could just make this a 2 adventurer fight. That would probably make this a little bit more interesting. We ate this. It's just a gelatinous cube. I hate ironing, burn myself way too many times. I don't know if I've ever actually really burned myself ironing, and I iron a lot. I think I'm very careful about it. But I'm also very slow at it. That's probably why. Yeah, I like this idea. So if you could only pick 2 adventurers, which ones would you have for this? Rogue, archer, mage, witch doctor. I mean, probably like the rogue and the archer. It's still got to do damage quickly enough. But I don't want dodging to be the thing, because that's what the snake is going to... No, wait, the snake is going to punish dodging. This one's going to reward dodging. So archer for dodging. Rogue for dodging. I don't want this to be the same way. It's got to be the ones that attack the fastest, though, and those just happen to be the archer and the rogue. Okay, maybe I swap some of these abilities around. Maybe it's like the slime poisons you every so often, or has poisonous skin that only has a chance to happen. And that way you need a fast DPS and then maybe like a healer. I melted a shirt before. Wow. Top of just 2 adventurers. Give the adventurers the garbage and chef slime as allies you want to buff. They're too big to throw into a battle. Yeah, I have some thoughts about this. We could also make it so that the slime poisons you when you attack it. This is similar to the snake boss and the plant boss. It would put a timer on the fight. Maybe not even when you attack it. Doesn't the snake poison you? What does the snake do? Poison. This is just for thematic reasons. Every time you dodge or the snake misses, the snake heals. The snake ignores summons until they're the only creatures left. Oh, or maybe he heals when a summon dies. Are there damage types? No, not really. There's just damage, pretty much. I'm just trying to think, how do we make this fight a little bit more unique than the other ones? Like, so each fight in the game needs a way to lose. I mean, that should be pretty obvious, or else it's just going to take forever. And then the boss fights have a gimmick. So in this case, our gimmick is the slime only takes 1 damage at a time. The way to overcome this, use lots of rapid attacks. So like the rogue is really good because they have quick strike, and the archer is really good because they have just a ton of haste and like 3 separate attacking abilities. And maybe the mage is pretty good because of lightning zaps. But these are kind of your bread and butter for most of the fights anyway, so I kind of want there to be a reason to not just stack 2 of these characters. Like, maybe we encourage you to have a healer or a tank. But why exactly? And what would a tank do if the enemy's not attacking? I'm not sure if I want the enemy to attack. You do less damage as your weapons get all slimy, but that wouldn't work. Yeah, not for this particular fight. If you want a timer, just make the attack add a debuff that increases damage received. Like something is eating your armor. But the problem is, like, if the whole point is to have rapid attacks, then you're going to get this debuff on you. Oh, I see what you're saying. Make the slimes attack, not necessarily a reaction. Yeah, I'm still not totally sure. Like, how does the slime do damage? And it could be a direct attack. It could be any of these options, actually. It could be like poison when you hit it. It could be just poison when it attacks. Summoning other slimes that do something. Direct attacks, poison, etc. On receive, so the next slime attack is harder. Yeah, but then dodging is still kind of the cure-all to this. I sort of want to punish dodging. But there's another boss that directly punishes it by healing itself. The snake. Which, by the way, this doesn't really make any sense, does it? That the snake is healing when you dodge an attack. Poison if you stand is the slime trail. Stand on the slime trail. So there's no concept of like where you stand in this game. This is fully automated battles with no control over positioning. Because yeah, if we were making a manually controlled game, a lot of avenues open up. But yeah, in this case, it doesn't make sense to have something like where you stand. So it could just be that you, like, I don't know, if you put the rogue and archer into the battle, that you just end up winning, and I don't know if that's fun. Maybe we allow for 3 adventurers, and we expect you to have... It's just if you never take damage, there's no problem fighting the boss. Maybe it doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe it doesn't matter. And I don't want to make it so that there's only one enemy or one adventurer you could use for this. Because another way we could do this is we could give the slime boss like 100 life and then give any slime summons something like 200 life. So the rogue will always target the boss. And then we could sort of punish AoE. But every other character in the game does not control what they target. So someone would target those summons. And if you had it such that when you kill one of the summons, it makes the enemies stronger, then you'd run into a problem. And then it would kind of be luck-based. Could have attacks on slime, lower dodge chance, so faster attacking adventurers are more vulnerable. Or maybe the slime just ignores dodging. Maybe the slime just ignores your dodge chance. If we were going to do this, though, we'd just make a reaction ability, which is very similar to how the plant's going to work, where you take damage whenever you damage it. What if it's an automated game? Couldn't control the units directly. He just wrote a figured out script. Yeah, I think the issue I'm running into more is just that some of this design space is already used by other characters I want to make. Like the plant having a bunch of thorns damage. And the snake punishing dodging. I don't think it'd be fun to have it just take one adventurer. So it's a one-on-one battle. You fight the slime and it's just you versus the slime. I think counterattacking is too similar to thorns. And the whole point is to have lots of attacks. And summons, yeah, I'm just... All right, well, let me write the reasons why I don't necessarily like this. If I just go for this, then dodging is an easy win. This has some overlap with the snake, but any reactive ability feels sort of like the plant boss. This could still make dodging really good. Maybe, yeah, unless I directly punish dodging, there's no way to not have dodging be good. Skip this one and maybe ideas will come when you're working on other bosses. As possible. I'm going to take a break pretty soon anyway, and I think just time away will make me think about this better when I come back. He's sticky. You get that on you and you aren't dodging anything. Yeah, we could say that. Yeah. Although, I guess as kind of mentioned here, if it's going to ignore your dodge chance, it is kind of like it's just... No, it's not the same though. Yeah. We wouldn't just make a reaction ability. Our reaction ability is based on the speed of the attacker, though, as opposed to the no ability to dodge. Okay, yeah, maybe that can work. So then it can just do a direct attack, but I think it should maybe also summon some slimes. Yeah, okay, I kind of like that. I'm going to write this down. Okay, so the slime ignores your dodge chance. And every time it loses 25% of its life, it summons 4 slimes that also do damage. It'd probably just murder you though. So this encourages you to have a DPS and a healer at least. Do you want to encourage the player to attack often or punish the player for not attacking? Yeah, I want to encourage them to attack often. That's a whole taking 1 damage at a time. Summons maybe 2 slimes that also do damage, but have low life. Yeah. So the rogue is like the person to have in this battle. But the dodge isn't going to do anything. But I guess you could still dodge the other slime's life. Yeah. Or damage, I mean. Okay. I could see this working. So I don't want to do this. So is this is this everything that I have here? Does the slime actually attack you? Yeah, it does attack you. This slime has a direct attack that does a decent amount of damage. Slime ignores your dodge chance. Every time it loses 25% of its life, it summons 2 slimes. So basically 75%, 50%, 25%. So 3 times in the battle, it's going to summon 2 extra slimes. Maybe it could even summon 1 more each time. It could summon 2 to 3 to 4. instead of, yeah, 2, 2, 2. So we'd add an extra 3 slimes that way. Okay. I think that's what we'll code. I'll probably do that stuff after lunch, though. Let's write in the journal. Yeah, this has been pretty productive. The Enchantress fight is basically done. The slime fight doesn't have too much to figure out. Right? Ignoring dodge might be difficult. In fact, how does that work? I just want to look at it really fast. Dodge chance equals get dodge chance. We need a thing that says whether they can ignore that, I guess. Oh, and then maybe it's like, maybe the slime just always hits. They would ignore the miss chance that way too, which the warrior can inflict. Yeah, they've got to have that, I guess. The rogue pops the health phase without killing prior spawn. I don't think that can happen. Execute only works at like 16% life remaining. The way I'm picturing this is as soon as the life drops below a certain amount, even if it's dead, it'll spawn new slimes. But anyway, we'll figure that out. It shouldn't cause any problems, I think. Oh yeah, journal. So Skeleseller started coding bosses, got done with the Enchantress. That's it so far. But hopefully by the end of this afternoon, I can also say got done with a slime and maybe one other one. What's the next one after that? The Phoenix. The Phoenix has a special revive animation, which we've never needed to do before. So I got to figure out how we'll do that. Then the plant and the Yeti, are those supposed to be tough? Maybe they are. Who knows? Okay. So, by the way, was that a reference to the whole earlier, what happens if you could get the shadow summons to die before the Enchantress? All right, yeah. So it is about noon for me. I'm going to go get lunch. I should be back by about 1 p.m. And then I'll stream for probably about 3 hours. I think this has been pretty fun today. Yeah. Oh, I just meant to keep you around longer. Gotcha. All right, well, thank you all for watching. If you'd like to join Discord, there's a link. If you want to try this demo of Skeleseller, there's a link to the Steam page. Again, if you ever want to try the demo, now is probably the best time because at some point I'm going to trim it to like half of what it currently is. Hey, rough cookie. But yeah, all right, take care, everyone. I'll see you in about an hour. Goodbye.